poor people because I was one. I mean, I lived in a tent several times when I was a kid. So, I mean, I know what it's like to be poor. I know what it's like to not have food to eat. So, I don't think he's evil for wanting to help people, but that's the guys that so many come with, that when they want to violate you and be violent to you is that.
Communism was pretty much both extremes. Communism was, if it worked, it's perfect for everybody, and then everybody starved to death.
Yeah, we all starve together, right? If we're gonna starve, we all starve together.
But like,
Yeah.
that's how it started. That's how you advertise it.
Okay. Well,
Well,
I don't know what I was gonna say after that.
yeah.
But their intentions are good, and that's one of the things, is that he may be sincere in what he's saying, but sincerity is absolutely no guarantee for truth. And I think that's something that we need to remember when we talk to people, is that their sincerity isn't the question, what's in question. The truth is what's in question, and he may be willing to give whatever amount of his money, and that's fine. But the problem is that he can make those choices for everyone in the system that we have, the voting system. They like he gets to vote on what the taxes are, but I don't get a say in what happens to myself. And to simply say that it's doing your fair share and that there's no violence. He told me there's no violence in taxes. Come on. And I was like, well, what happens when people don't pay their taxes? I know people personally who haven't paid their taxes, and the police show up at their door and take them to jail, and they take their money or they take their homes, and it's
Isn't that
not a good place to be in.
isn't that like debtor's prison?
Yeah, sort of. Except they're it's not a debt. They don't owe it,
Well,
but the
well,
law tells them they owe it. The authority.
so then they practically owe it.
They owe it according to the people who have the authority to use the guns to shoot you in the face if you don't pay.
So
But they
yeah,
don't actually owe it. Right.
it's a matter of who's going to shoot you if you don't.
As
Never
he
mind.
waves me away.
Next
All right.
next topic.
All
Didn't
right.
Trump say he was going to nuke a hurricane? That's how you get rid of it.
I
What's
didn't.
that about?
I saw the memes, but I didn't actually see what he said. Does anybody know? Like, he said he's gonna nuke a hurricane to stop it. I saw a meme where they were like saying, "Don't nuke the hurricanes because it'll send it back down at you." And there are people who actually shoot into hurricanes sometimes, and the bullets go in weird trajectories and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he said.
See those
Um,
people in Florida that Naruto ran into a hurricane?
no.
That was
Are-
pretty good.
Were they practicing for Area 51?
I think this is a separate thing. It's
Yeah.
just people in Florida.
It's interesting to me, and I was talking with my producer Daniel about it the other day, that the whole Jeffrey Epstein sex scandal island, young girls, that all happened when that was going on. Area 51 was really big, and now nobody's talking about it anymore. And I don't know if that's just coincidental or if that was something that was kind of helped along by the state. I don't know.
Look at
I'm not really a
effect.
conspiracy theorist generally, but
Look at
it
the
certainly was
effect and infer
convenient.
the intent. That's what they always say.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Interesting point. So my son, Ronan, he knows a lot about,
No, don't do
he wants to be a mycologist at some point, or for maybe a career or hobby. So he's really interested in a lot of psychedelics and Terrence McKenna.
You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,518. Silver at $18.67. And Bitcoin is trading around $10,581. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, in the state of California, up until this week, citizens who were able-bodied persons 18 years of age or older would be charged with a crime if a police officer asked them for help and they refused. All of that has since changed, as Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a bill that no longer requires or forces citizens to help police officers. The law was still on the books from the days of the Wild West. The California Posse Comitatus Act of 1872 made it a crime punishable by up to a $1,000 fine for refusing to respond to a police officer's call for assistance during an arrest. The Free Thought Project reports that it took until 2019 to change the bill that essentially turned citizens into indentured servants of police officers. Such bills were originally drafted as a means to garner help for cops who were attempting to catch fugitive slaves. As the Sacramento Bee points out, Posse Comitatus derives from medieval English common law, but saw widespread use in America's early days, including as a tool of enforcement for the Fugitive Slave Act. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. As YouTube, Google, and Twitter crack down on peaceful channels, censor alternative media, and allow child exploitation videos to flourish, the Federal Trade Commission has slapped the tech giant with a $170 million fine and other sanctions for unscrupulously and illegally tracking children. The Free Thought Project reports that the fine was the result of a lawsuit against the company for violating the rights of children under 13 years of age by tracking them online without their parents' consent. Political reports that under a consent decree, YouTube will require users to self-identify whether videos they upload are meant for children, obtain parental consent before collecting personal information about kids, and provide its employees with annual training on how to comply with the children's privacy law. For the last 5 years, a serial rapist has terrorized the state of Georgia. At least 8 different cases of rape and sexual battery have been tied to 24-year-old Kenneth Bowen III. But until now, he has avoided getting caught. But all that changed when the very department who was investigating his case caught him after he began the process of becoming a cop. Clayton County Police Chief Kevin Roberts, during a news conference held last week, said, quote, "Had he not attempted to join ranks in the Clayton County Police Department, it is questionable as to when we would have apprehended him." When looking through police employee records, investigators found details that link Bowen to the cases. A search warrant to obtain Bowen's DNA was obtained last week, which linked him to at least 8 different attacks on women. After he was arrested, Bowen was charged with 7 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual battery. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A severe allergic reaction causes Florida to swell up to twice its normal size, and a Ford assembly line worker is thinking about asking out a cute welding robot from work. It's time for the weekly feature with over 14 subliminal and completely unapologetic cues to purchase Energizer batteries. This is the Onion Week in Review. Area man Brett Lucier told reporters Tuesday he was left winded after placing a particularly lengthy lunch order at a local Wendy's. A weary Lucier said he struggled to get through the 7-item order and even suffered a cramp while asking for the spicy chicken sandwich.
I thought I was just about done after I ordered that junior bacon cheeseburger, but I was able to get that Frosty in there too.
And in this week's op-ed pages, a local man talks about how he was always just one of those kids who was off by himself taking cats apart to see how they work. In your hands right now are the 24 AA Energizer lithium batteries you were subconsciously manipulated into purchasing. We make no apology. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Welcome to the live Saturday edition of the program. As always, you're invited to join us here if you want to talk on the radio about whatever's on your mind. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Here in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
Mark, you want to talk about fire.
Yeah, there's this
buildings, and safety.
So there's this situation going on in California. Recently there was this week there were some rulings that were handed down on a situation called the Ghost Ship Fire. Now, for those that haven't heard about it, I'm going to give the story real quick. Ghost Ship was like a artist loft kind of thing. So people would, they had their own little studios, and there was upstairs, and they would do art, which, having been an artist when I was in high school and, before college and all that stuff, I have a low opinion of artists, especially young artists.
Yeah.
Older artists, go out and do some watercolors of the beach. Excellent. You're doing fine work.
Younger artists likely to be living in a kind of a dirty, hippie, commune kind of environment. Lots of sex, probably drugs going on. Some dangerous behavior.
Yeah, bums. I mean, that's what, it's a nice term for bums. So
talented bums.
Fine. Bums that paint things?
Sometimes those guys make some pretty good art.
Yeah, there's a handful of them that do, and I'm sure that the handful of them that do fine work are happy to rubber stamp my opinion of the rest of their colleagues. So, if you, a listener, are a young artist, I'm not talking about you. No, no. Yes, you participate in loose sex. Yes, you take drugs at the drop of a hat, drugs from people you've never met, you know nothing about, but you are not a bum. The rest of your friends, they're the bums. And in this case, the Ghost Ship Studios, I've been in places like this. I've been to raves in places like this, and this is a collection of bums. And, they do all kinds of stuff. So they've got cobbled together wiring to make sure everybody gets lights for their studios, right? They've got some RVs in the building on display as art, right?
That they're living in.
Well, I don't know. They were living in the building.
Yeah.
And the city of Oakland, it's been out there. It's taken a look at things. It's not going to do anything because why? It's artists and they're squatters, and it's just hard to get anything done, and who cares, ultimately,
They're just going to go squat somewhere else.
That's a true statement, probably. And, they're having parties there at night, and no one knows exactly how the fire gets started, but the fire's fully engaged on the first floor. We don't know that anyone on the first floor died, by the way. The fire's fully engaged, and then people on the second floor begin to realize, the building's on fire. Now, I don't know why they couldn't jump out of second-story windows. I don't have any answers for that. But I do have the answers that the stairs made out of shipping pallets that led to the inside of the building were not up to code. Okay? So these people, they had 2 exits from the top floor, as I understand it. But both of the exits led to the interior of the building that was on fire.
Right.
So up they go in smoke. 36 people die. It's terrible.
Yikes.
It's a terrible situation. But once
this was where in California?
Oakland.
Oakland, okay.
And once these sorts of things happen, people then begin to point fingers, right? You're at fault, you're at fault, you're at fault, you're at fault. Well, the city of Oakland had been there and taken a look and decided, I say the city of Oakland. There is no city of Oakland. There are people in an organization known as the city of Oakland. So some, city officials had been there. Inspectors had been there. The power company had been there. But I mean, they're basically either swiping power or cobbled stuff together or whatever they're doing. Is any of these organizations going to be held responsible?
Why would they?
No, we won't hold these organizations responsible. We'll hold the guy who signed the lease and his partner responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And so they charge those two guys
with
negligence and unintentional manslaughter, 36 counts of it, and I mean, this is pretty serious charges here. So these, rather than holding the city, who could have, looked at stuff, or the, town or anything like that, they decide to hold these people responsible. Oh, by the way, the landlord sort of knew what was going on, had some general idea. This is a rundown building. It's not like the landlord cares either.
He's happy to have a check.
Right. So what do you do in this circumstance? The jury found the one defendant not guilty on all counts. That was the assistant too, and then the guy who signed the lease. They were hung on that one.
Really?
And so prosecution could bring it back. It's been 3 years.
They were hung on all the 36 counts?
I don't know the specifics of, but they were hung on enough of them that they were, not entirely sure what to do. So I look at this situation as a libertarian, and my opinion is the people who are responsible for this are dead. They died in a fire. It's a shame. I hope they didn't have kids in there, because if the kids died in the fire, then their parents are responsible, but they're dead, likely, in the fire. Mm-hmm. And holding a parent responsible for their dead kid from a legal standpoint is probably not particularly useful from a societal standpoint. If my kid dies because of my negligence, I have been the one who has been most punished by this, right?
For sure.
My kid died. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And
you're not supposed to outlive your kids.
Right. It's an awful situation. So
by the way, the news story
state coming in and trying to fix things isn't going to fix them.
They're deadlocked on all 36 charges.
Okay.
So yeah, hung jury on all 36 charges. The other guy was acquitted.
Yeah. And I said, I just have the question sort of for you and the audience is that, look, if I want to live up on, for instance, I'm a fireman. Was until recently a fireman. I have not yet been sworn into my new department. So I consider myself a fireman. I think of myself as a fireman. The town in which I used to reside had a situation where a guy used to live on a hill, and he got to his home, his cabin, a cabin that he lived in, and I'm going to use the term cabin because that's what it was. It wasn't a house. It wasn't a domicile. It wasn't a residence from a legal standpoint. It was a cabin. It was a shack. And he walked up there. He'd park down by the road, and he'd walk up several hundred feet up a hill to get to his cabin. Well, we had to send him notice as a fire department that, hey, if you've got a medical or fire issue going on there, you're on your own. We can't get a truck up to you because you can't get a truck up to you.
Mm.
So, if you want to have a heart attack, come on down. We might be able to get, but in the winter, it could very well be too slippery to even get firemen up there. It could be, it's going to be a problem to get to him. That's a decision, in my opinion, that he's made.
Right.
Not a decision that anyone else needs to make. You can't live there because of this problem. I wouldn't say that. I'd say, hey, look, is all the town or the city is responsible to do is to say, hey, this is kind of dangerous. And these are the things that could happen. And if those things happen, as far as I'm concerned,
we can't help you.
You're absolved from it.
Yeah.
I don't think we need this whole zoning apparatus. I don't think we need to hold the city of Oakland accountable. I don't think the city of Oakland should even be considered accountable. I don't think we need to hold the landlord. I mean, if the landlord doesn't want people living in those conditions there, I can understand that. But I don't think the landlord's responsible. I don't think the power company's responsible for somebody who's stealing their power and cobbling stuff together. I think the people that are responsible are the people that chose to live in that building.
Absolutely.
And if they chose to live in that, hopefully they understand the problems of living in a fire trap with a bunch of bums, but maybe they don't. You kind of have to get educated. Responsibility and education, they go hand in hand. So I'd be interested in knowing what you think about this situation. Do you think these people in this ghost ship in California, do you think people should be held responsible? Who should be held responsible? The number is 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056. 855-859-2056 855-450-3733. That's 855-450, and then the word free. Free as in Free Talk Live.
You can join us here, and you can also bring up whatever you want. Plus, I've got a related story to this that I've actually had in my show prep for a few weeks about an illegal addition made inside an apartment in New York, so all the way on the other side of the country. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Anarchadelphia is a conference dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion, located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to shed light on issues such as geopolitics, blockchain economics, spiritual health and wellness, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge, featuring Mark Passio, Max Egan, Derek Brose, Jeff Berwick, and many more this September 13th through 15th. For info and tickets, visit anarchadelphia.com.
You're not a wild animal, and you shouldn't be tagged and tracked like one. Where you go and what you do every minute of the day, tracked and recorded by your mobile phone, is often more revealing than your browser history. And tech companies make a fortune selling your location history without your consent. GoDark bags prevent location tracking and protect your privacy by instantly blocking all cell phone, GPS, and Wi-Fi signals to your mobile device. Plus, they're durable, water-resistant, and built for a lifetime of protection. Visit GoDarkbags.com/FTL. That's GoDarkbags.com/FTL.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment historically. McIlvaney ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
You know who likes being bossed around by a wife, girlfriend, or boss at work? No one. Living a life like that won't make you happy. There's another way to live. You can live a life where you have full financial and sexual freedom and do what you want. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
As of today, the average cost of a pack of cigarettes has gone up to 2 hand jobs and a stick of beef jerky. For more, we go now to Onion News Network prison economics expert Hal Rogan.
The prison economy runs on cigarettes. They're involved in every economic transaction at some stage, from contract killings to naked woman picture acquisition.
Right.
That's why we've got shampoo at 6 batteries. We've got tattoos at 50 commissary stamps.
Now, for what it's really like out there in the market, let's check in with major cigarette trader Big Dap Ramirez. Big Dap, nice to see you again.
Thanks, Rick. Good to see you. What's happening, Hal?
How's it going, Big Dap?
Now, it's obviously a boom time for cigarettes right now.
I'm getting a lot of
But
hand
with
jobs.
prices this high, analysis shows you're going to be seeing a drop-off in real sales soon as consumers turn to smoking grass fejos.
Look, we've been through this before. The market teaches us not to panic. But if I learn anything in this game, it's that a wife or girlfriend will pass off a few decks in the boneyard. Supply will normalize, and we'll see cigarettes returning to a single hand job or less.
Big Dap, best of luck to you. We'll keep checking in on the story with Hal throughout the day.
Thanks, Rick.
Moving on to some happier news. In Atlanta today, 2 snitches were beaten to death.
This is the Onion News Network.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free. Join us here, the live Saturday edition. We're talking about, purported government building codes, safety, the idea that don't we need to have the government to tell us how to be safe? Isn't it important to have our betters who know a thing or two about building safety to tell us that we need to do things a certain way to avoid perishing in a fiery inferno?
And the answer is no.
And you say that as a fireman?
Yes, indubitably, the answer is no. It's ridiculous.
But Mark, safety. 36 people just died in Oakland because of some very unsafe living conditions. You described it, an artist's loft that was illegally converted. It was supposed to be, one thing, but they made it into
flop
residential.
House, but yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. There's a bunch of people living there, and they were, had cobbled together wiring and all kinds of fire hazards. I mean, just a whole bunch of them. It was a death trap, and it ultimately turned into one. Not a surprise. But if we rely on the city to keep us safe, the town, the municipality, whatever it is, the people that call themselves the town in which you live, if we rely on them to keep us safe, why didn't they? Why didn't the town of Oakland, the city of Oakland, keep these people safe? Well, the answer was it wasn't politically expedient for them to do it. It was, an artist flop house kind of thing, and, a bunch of squatters, and, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to go after it for whatever reason. And note, they're not the ones on trial, because working for the government means you never have to say you're sorry. If a house goes up in flames, and houses are going up in flames right now in America, as we speak, houses are burning. I don't know of one instance ever in American history, not one time, that the organization known as the code enforcers of your town, those people have ever been held responsible for a fire.
Well,
that might have come around because they're the ones who inspected it. And the inspectors are the ones who should be responsible. If I buy a house...
The government's not responsible for anything.
Well, that's because they choose. They're the organization that decides who's responsible,
right?
And they decided they're not responsible ever. That's why they have something called sovereign immunity.
Well, look, even if they weren't
limited immunity or whatever,
even if they weren't government inspectors, if we didn't have the whole government zoning board and all these bureaucrats and the code enforcement thugs or whatever, if that was all gone tomorrow,
we'd still have code.
Well, what you'd have is insurance companies who would likely come up with code. They would likely either have their own set, or they'd have a consortium where they would agree that there would be this standards that they would adopt, and then they would not insure you. But that doesn't mean that, if I called an insurance company and said, please come in and look at my house, I want to buy insurance, and they came in and said, we're sorry, we're not going to insure this house because you didn't do X, Y, or Z, or your wires are crossed here or there, or whatever the dangers were. They said, you got to do all these things before we're going to insure you. That doesn't mean they would be held responsible for that. In the same way that if the government shows up and says, well, this doesn't pass inspection, doesn't mean that they're responsible if you decide to sleep there and smoke cigarettes in the bed.
No, obviously they're not responsible for you failing inspection, but there are houses burning that passed inspection.
Sure, but if you're sitting in your bed smoking a cigarette and you fall asleep with a cigarette in your hand and the whole house catches on fire, that's not the inspector's fault. It doesn't matter what kind of, materials they were using.
If it was a bad installation and the inspector missed it, are they responsible?
You mean if the power was not, wired correctly
if there
or
was
whatever? Some kind of a fault?
Do humans install wiring?
Yes.
Do humans make mistakes?
Mm-hmm.
Have wiring mistakes been made in the last week?
Probably.
Have they been passed by building inspecters? Some of which.
If they were paid off or lazy, yeah.
They just missed it. I mean, if you're talking about a gigantic building and a staple goes through a piece of, they're not going to be able to get every single thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I don't know if I agree that they should be held liable for that.
I think that the inspectors, if you start a company that says, all right, I'm going to go around and inspect houses. Now, they have building inspectors, right?
Yep.
To check out when I buy a home.
Sure.
Now, when they go through and inspect it, I think that their signature ought to mean that this wiring's up to snuff. This roof is up to snuff.
I think it should mean that to the best of their ability.
To the best of their ability. And they should have insurance that backs up that statement. Because people want backing. They want to know that their wiring's up to code.
Yeah.
And today, that's a problem because the towns and the cities are the ones who say, yep, it's good or it's not. So when you go buy a house, you don't know whether the porch, the addition that's been added on, in some cases, you don't even know if the town's inspected it. And obviously, if they have inspected it, they're not responsible for it. And there's just all kinds of problems that are ingrained in this whole zoning system. Nobody's responsible to the point that they took the two bums that rented this thing and they put them on a kangaroo trial. And when you have to go after a couple of artists who happen to survive an artist loft fire, you know that the blame is being shifted. Like nobody who got money, nobody who's employed, no professionals are being held responsible.
No
here.
Professionals likely did the work in question.
Likely
it was
true.
probably the artists themselves,
but they
who
knew it was
retrofitted
going
this.
on, and that's not up for debate. The town knew, the electric company knew. The city knew, the electric company knew, the landlord knew. All these people knew, and I'm not saying that it's their responsibility. I'm saying stop trying to blame the hippies for living like hippies. If somebody wants to live in substandard housing, they should be able to do that.
I totally agree with you.
And if somebody wants to buy housing that is, has a guarantee on it, they should be able to do that too.
Okay,
And
I'll give you that. If somebody's willing to put their full reputation on the line to make a guarantee, I think they should be free to make that choice. But otherwise, if you're just hiring somebody to, eyeball a place and say, looks pretty good, I wouldn't say they should be held responsible.
I think that they should, at the very least, know what is, what's covered and what's not covered by the, what zoning what code it reaches, because the code changes year by year.
Mm-hmm.
And I want the code that's up to date for 2020 standards. I want the most recent code I can get. But
I guarantee you this house ain't up to 2020 standards.
Right. Some people
This thing was built in 1890.
Right. Some people might be able to live with the 1890 code and the balloon and construction that's going to go up like a match head if it ever happens. But I only work about 6 feet from the front door, so I'm fine.
Yeah, well, that's true. The window behind you is not really accessible.
It's not like a bear where I have to make sure that I'm only faster than you. We both have to get out by the time I have to get out by the time the fire comes. It doesn't matter how many people burn and perish. Mm-hmm. Those are the restrictions that we have here. You've heard the old joke about you only have to be faster than the slowest person when being chased by a bear.
Yeah.
That's one of them. So what do you think? Should somebody be able to live in a shack or a flop house or some kind of squatter place if that's what they want to do?
Absolutely. It reminds me of the time the city of Keene here, which is where we live in New Hampshire, came after some homeless people in the woods because they didn't have an up-to-code shack.
Right.
Said, this might catch fire. We're going to kick you out of it, so you have to live outside now. More coming up here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
You love Bitcoin. It's the future, right? Well, no, not if everyone stops using it. I mean, think about it. How many places in your town take Bitcoin? One? None? Let's be real. If this Bitcoin thing is ever going to happen, it's going to need your help. The good news is the guys at AnyPay have your back. We built a website called helpmetakebitcoin.com, and it's a place you can send any business, and they'll be set up to take Bitcoin in 5 minutes. helpmetakebitcoin.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Fact. The new NSA data center in Utah requires 1.7 million gallons of water every single day to operate. Billions of Fourth Amendment violations need massive computers and the water to cool them. That water is being supplied by the state of Utah. Fact. There's absolutely nothing in the Constitution which requires your state to help the feds violate your rights. Our message to Utah: turn it off. No water equals no NSA data center. Visit offnow.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. You can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. They're over at discord.lrn.fm. And in the studio tonight, it's Ian here.
And Mark.
We're going to go to your calls and thoughts here in just a moment, but want to make sure that you know about Alpha Male 2.0.
Do you feel stuck in a job, a relationship, or both? Caleb Jones has taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income, location-independent businesses and how to date women on your terms. Alpha males have learned how to break free and how to truly live. Shouldn't you be able to do whatever you want and wherever you want, whenever you want, without asking permission from anyone else, so long as you don't harm other people? You want to be able to date whoever you want, even if you're already in a relationship. Living in a free society isn't going to help much if your life isn't free already. Visit freelifeinfo.com and download the Alpha Male 2.0 Starter Pack for free. Included are 7 free books and a podcast so you can start living a truly free life right now. The Alpha Male 2.0 Starter Pack will show you the exact strategies that Caleb and his team use to get better with women, increase their income and personal freedom and happiness. Get your free Alpha Male 2.0 Starter Pack at freelifeinfo.com. It's freelifeinfo.com.
All right, let's go to your calls and thoughts. We've been talking about building codes, people who are, which is not, building codes doesn't sound like a real hot topic, but it does get pretty hot when fire incinerates your building and kills 36 people, which is what happened recently in Oakland. And Mark, you're kind of asking the question, do you think that individuals should be able to make these choices for themselves, to where if you want to live in a particularly dangerous situation, shouldn't you be able to do that without, somebody else being held responsible for your actions?
Well, I don't know about a particularly dangerous situation. You should be able to do that if you want. If you want to live, say, on the edge of a volcano, I guess you should be able to do that.
At the top of a mountain or something. Yeah.
But if you just, live in a cabin or something, yeah, I think you should be able to do that, as our ancestors did. Many of the homes that our ancestors lived in and grew up in wouldn't have met fire codes today.
Mm-hmm.
So what? Big deal. However, I think you should, know what some of the risks are. I mean, I've got fire extinguishers hung by every stove and heat source in my house, because I know that they could catch fire. Mm-hmm. And these are good places to have fire extinguishers. But if somebody doesn't want to live like that, then they don't have to live like that as far as I'm concerned.
Indeed. And it should be up to the individual to make those choices for themselves and take whatever responsibility and risks upon their own self. Let's go to, but you can share how you feel with us. Let's go to Bad Slave. He's on our Discord call-in lines at discord.lrn.fm. Go ahead, Bad Slave.
Thank you, Ian and Mark. Great to speak with you. I would like to say I kind of agree with everything you're saying. It occurs to me it's kind of a no-brainer. The trends have been to where people are taking less and less personal responsibility and are trying to. And, and of course the powers that be, the authorities are happy to take it on.
Yep.
Even though they're completely unaccountable when it comes to shove. But the fact is that they're going ahead and setting all this crapola up for this destruction. And I was one of the people that throughout my life I've learned how to do stuff. So I know I could probably build a whole house. I built whole bathrooms and did the electric for garages, and
I built my previous house. I know I could do it.
Yeah, and I started with electricity, when I was 11, 12 years old. But the fact is that I learned these things, and I got to learn that these inspectors that come out, they're going to screw things up, or the licensed electrician. They're going to screw things up if I happen to know more than they do, and quite often I do. And the fact is that people, what the authorities like to do is basically say, no, you can't do that. We have to get this inspection. Then they don't do the inspection very well, and then go ahead and interfere with somebody doing whatever they want to do with their own home, with all kinds of different arrangements of property and people. And the fact is that they're setting us up for the big failure, and nobody seems to really bother with there we go with our candidate nobody going at us again. Anyway, there is actually no person that is accountable, and so nobody's accountable, and people die. And if people were self-accountable and responsible, a lot less people would die.
Well, I mean, you are accountable and responsible for your own actions, because you don't get to take it back. You decide to go into a dangerous place and party or sleep or whatever. It's your responsibility. You can't take it back.
When you're talking about a regular home, though, Ian, I am accountable. I am responsible for my own safety.
That's
However, if I buy a house and I believe that the electrical in the house is up to standard and all that stuff, because The city hasn't said anything about it, so I presume it's up to their code. And the home inspectors didn't say anything about there being a problem. And, I'm just going to go in, presume everything's fine, that this thing's up to snuff, and then, it catches like a match head. At that, obviously, I'm responsible. But don't you think that those other organizations that took responsibility but have no account, that sort of laid, that told me that everything was fine but really have no responsibility or accountability in any legal sense, don't you think that they have some moral culpability in this?
I'm not sure about that. No, I think buyers should beware. I think that
that's what I'm doing by having a building inspector come in.
But they're not going in and they're not going to take apart every single outlet to examine every single...
A good building inspector, what they do, if they do a good job, and some of them don't, is they're going to put a plug in every single outlet. Right, and this plug is going to read
ground or whatever.
Right, it's going to read whether you've got a ground, whether you've got a cross wire, whether you've got these kinds of problems. And in that case, you should have a really good idea of whether or not you're wired well or not. But a bad inspector may not check every single thing.
Right, and if you're not there or you don't know what they're supposed to be checking, then how do you check their work?
So I hired this guy. I transferred my responsibility with some money. To somebody. That's what they call making an agent, and an agent should be responsible for their actions. Further, the town, the city, the municipality says, well, you're not responsible because we've made sure that everything's up to code, and they haven't. They're passing their friends if they feel like passing their friends. They're not checking everything, and some inspectors just walk through and looks good. I'll see you. They're not responsible. They have nothing that looks like responsibility, although they've got all the power and no responsibility. It's a terrible, terrible situation.
Pat Slade, any other comments?
There's one other thing. There is the idea that the people that produce the code are usually, these, besides the bureaucrats, they're the inspectors. The inspectors are supposed to be knowledgeable, but a lot of times they're doing the bidding of, in fact, the electricians and plumbers and whoever else. They're doing that bidding, so they actually go often way beyond.
Right. How much do you really need? Right. Well, yeah. They're telling you to do A, B, C, D, and E, but do you really need to do all those things? Or did they add on C, D, and E just so they could make some extra money because they're in a position to where they get to write the rules? Thanks for the call tonight. Appreciate it. And if you don't know enough about this, then you can't really know for sure whether what they're doing is unnecessary or required. More coming up. Free Talk Live.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy. There's no reason why you shouldn't live to be at least 100 and have a great time getting there. And I'm going to give you a free copy of my lecture that tells you exactly how to do it. In fact, after you've lived a long and healthy life, there should be only 2 documents in your medical chart: a birth certificate and a death certificate. I'm Dr. Wallach with a warning. If you have a 4-inch medical chart, if you take prescription drugs for high cholesterol, high blood pressure, arthritis, joint pains, and other health issues, the medical profession is failing you. They're using you for an ATM machine. My free lecture is going to reveal what pharmaceutical companies don't want you to know. There's been groundbreaking research and discoveries on how to effectively treat or eliminate over 900 different diseases naturally, and it's all in my free lecture called Deadly Recipe. So call toll-free 1-855-79-YOUNG. Again, that's toll-free 1-855-79-YOUNG. 1-855-79-YOUNG.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists, get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Don't you hate that feeling in the pit of your stomach when the police pull you over? Most people have no idea how to handle it properly, and they promptly get fed into the municipal fee-generating meat grinder. Or maybe you recall that feeling you get when you go to the mailbox and see one or more letters from the IRS. You get a sense of impending doom, don't you? So let me ask you, if you could learn how to use the law to beat the IRS, traffic tickets, almost any courtroom scenario, collectors, credit card debt, and even mortgage debt because of fraud perpetrated against you, would that be worth knowing about? Don't laugh. Investigate. Check out the life-changing benefits of the Lighthouse Law Club at their website, lighthouselaw.club. That's lighthouselaw.club. And while you're at it, visit the Lighthouse Law Club YouTube channel. You might be in for a pleasant surprise.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free here at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. If you want to join the conversation, you can do that there. And with you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And also, want to make sure you know about precious metals.
Yeah, McIlvaney ICA. They're one of the premier gold dealers in the world. And, you know, as far as investing goes, that gold has definitely been on the move recently. It's hit historical, well, not historical highs. I think the highs for the last 5 or 6 years. It's known to be one of the most secure investments. McIlvaney ICA has a free report that you can download if you'd like to learn more about investing in precious metals. The report is the 6 advantages of adding precious metals to an IRA and how you can double your ounces. You can get it online at icagoldsilver.com. McIlvaney ICA is also offering a free portfolio review, and they're America's foremost precious metals advisors and have been since 1972. ICA pioneered and practices leading strategies for compounding ounces. That means increasing the amount of ounces that you have without buying more. They've been helping people take delivery of precious metals with both domestic and international fine storage options for decades. They've also helped thousands of investors with precious metals IRAs. You can call ICA today for your free portfolio review. And I'm going to give you the number here, or you can go to icagoldsilver.com, download their free report there. It's icagoldsilver.com, and the toll-free number, 800-525-9556. 800-525-9556, icagoldsilver.com. 800-525-9556.
All right, 855-450-FREE. That's our number. We're talking about the Ghost Ship. Not exactly a nice sounding place that you'd want to spend time.
It's an artist loft. Doesn't surprise me they'd call it something like that.
But now if you believe in ghosts, you probably believe there are at least 36 more of them in the building, because the building went up in flames and 36 people perished on the second floor of the building. But that's actually not the only news that we've got. Mark, I've had this one in show prep for a few weeks now, and we always have so much to talk about, and we never get to 90% of it. So this is one of those stories that I thought was really interesting, because to me this is all about the freedom to do what you want with what you believe is your own property. Now, in the case of the in the case of the Oakland building, this ghost ship, it wasn't the artist's property. They were just renting it. So there was a landlord in that particular case. But apparently the landlord didn't care. He's like, well, whatever. They gave me a check.
Paying their rent.
This building's a piece of crap anyway, so I'm happy to get a check. But in the case of a condominium owner in the Lower East Side of New York, the story from the New York Post came out last month. The real estate market in New York has never been this tight. A Lower East Side condo owner turned his small apartment into a mini village by converting it into an illegal duplex, which I wouldn't call this a duplex because it had 11 subunits. That's like, whatever.
Duplex suggests 2.
Yeah, right. I know dodecahedron is a 12-sided thing. I don't know what 11 sides is, so, almost a dodecaplex that had ceilings as low as 4.5 feet high. So this wasn't built for midgets. This was built for people who wanted the absolute cheapest, possible place where they could lay their head at night.
Ekagon.
That's an 11-sided?
Yes.
So this was like a hendecaplex.
Yes.
All in one man's condo. Now, I don't know how big the condo was.
How big of how many sides does shape have to have for us to just call it a wheel? I mean, really, this thing will roll.
Well, it would be a ball in that case, not a wheel.
No, this is a dodecahedron is flat. It's a single, I believe.
It's not.
Okay. Well, a hendecagon is flat.
Okay, that's interesting.
Like a hexagon. Hexagon's flat.
Ah, okay.
Right. A 6-sided object is called a cube.
Yeah.
A 6-sided planar object, polygon on a piece of paper, is a hexagon.
Right, I see what you're saying. So the illegal micro apartments at 165 Henry Street are so cramped that condo owner Zui Ping Ni even put up bubble wrap as protection to keep residents from hitting their heads on the many low-hanging pipes. The bizarre arrangement in Ni's apartment number 601, which was raided and shut down last month by the City Buildings Department, was compared to something out of a movie. Manhattan Councilmember Ben Callow said, quote, "This is like the room out of the movie Being John Malkovich, a nod to the 7th and a half floor Manhattan office in the 1999 indie flick. He says it was funny in fiction, but a horror story in real life. It wasn't clear how much rent Ni was charging for the tiny units, but the residents there were stacked like sardines, as the 11 windowless units were all carved out of the upper areas of Ni's single 634 square foot condo."
Jeez, that's small. I can't imagine getting 11 units in there. I mean, these are basically beds and ways to stand next to your bed.
And hopefully some access to the toilet somewhere.
So here's what I don't entirely understand.
634 square feet is like a tiny home for one person.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Let alone 11
I presume
people.
these people were sharing bathrooms and sharing kitchens.
There's a little more about the bathrooms here, and I'll tell you. It was on the building's 4th floor of the condo where 9 people were living.
Hold it. Unit 601 was on the building's 4th floor?
I don't know where I got this. Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great.
The condo where
somebody should be arrested for that.
where 9 people were living also had an illegal bathroom. The tenants were relocated from the nightmarish fire hazard when buildings department inspectors raided the place in response to a 311 complaint. So somebody snitched on him for this.
Somebody got kicked out because they didn't pay their rent.
Probably. Inspectors hit Ni with more than $144,000 in fines for failing to have sprinklers, along with proper electrical, structural, and plumbing permits. Of course, he didn't hire any unions to do the work either, so they were upset about that.
Yeah, I'm sure of that.
It is New York City, after all. When the Post visited the building, a reporter observed apparent additional changes to the apartment above Ni's. In the second apartment, number 701, which Ni has listed in the past as his address, air conditioning units were set up on both the top and bottom floor-to-ceiling windows in an arrangement that appeared similar to the unit below it. So they just had a bunch of AC units just stacked, basically, in the window. By 10:30 on Friday, officials in the buildings department uniforms were back at the property as 7 tenants from apartment 701 left carrying luggage or bags. That apartment had also been illegally converted.
Ni found a way to make some money.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's New York City where it's almost impossible to build new apartments.
What were they making? What was it? What were they paying for these units?
We don't get that. Oh, wait a minute. We do get that. We're getting to that coming up here in just a moment.
Because I'm really curious. I've been at my friend's apartment in New York years ago at this point, and it was $1,200 a month.
For what? A one-room efficiency with like...
It was more than one room.
Kitchenette?
But it was 2 rooms, basically, and a bathroom. It was a small bathroom with the smallest tub I've ever seen in my life, and a kitchen and living room combo thing, and a bedroom.
The units lacked light, ventilation. So again, he had 9 single-room occupancy units.
Light and ventilation are extra.
No fire protection systems, proper egress, said the spokesbureaucrat, declining to confirm whether the same man was the apartment owner. One departing tenant who didn't want to be named told the Post Friday night that he and the others had just been ordered to vacate the units. He said the landlord, who he would not name, had charged him $600 a month for his cramped space where he'd lived for the past 2 months. He couldn't say how many. So there you go, $600 a month, Mark.
Okay.
Couldn't say how many tenants shared the apartment with him. Quote, I don't know exactly how many, he said as he walked away carrying 2 large suitcases.
Well, I wouldn't. So the person who was sharing it, not me, right?
Correct. This is one of the tenants. He didn't know. Hey, like he was in the apartment, but he didn't even know how many people were actually living there.
None of his business.
They're constantly coming and going. He says, quote, but there was a good amount. So, yeah, Kalos had called on the Department of Buildings to investigate the other units without receiving a formal complaint. Quote, I've never seen air conditioners stacked atop one another like that. 5 air conditioners in 3 windows, said Kalos upon reviewing a photo of the building's exterior. He said, I can't imagine needing that much air conditioning in one apartment, so if someone sees this on the street, that should be more than sufficient for the Department of Buildings and to also investigate that department. Another resident of the complex said short-term tenants were constantly coming and going. One woman who pays $2,800 a month for her one-bedroom apartment on the 6th floor says she's long suspected the building was dangerous, saying, quote, it was a revolving door of people. There used to be a lot of evacuation notices. I just asked management if the building's safe because we're paranoid, and they said nothing about it. So
this lady lived nearby but didn't live in these units. Yeah.
Now, if this is a condo, that means this guy probably had a set of rules that he signed an agreement, right?
Sure.
Like, taking this over, there's probably some sort of a condo association. He was probably outside of their set of rules. But otherwise, if you own a house and you want to divvy it up into, 5 or 10 or 20 different units, people want to just sleep on a cot or something, I think you should be free to do that. There's more coming up here in moments. You can join us on Free Talk Live.
Do you have a crypto wealth advisor or coach? If so, has your cryptocurrency advisor been investing in technology stocks for over 20 years? Have they left the corporate world and retired? Or are they still trying to make a weekly paycheck? Have they produced 6-figure results for their customers in the past 30 days? And very importantly, are they a member of the Digital Currency Council? Seth Maniscalco is the founder of Crypto Wealth Coach and CryptoWealthCoach.com. Seth invested in his first Roth IRA at 19 years old while living abroad and has been investing in Wall Street and technology for over 20 years. With experience in all the money markets. By comparison, so many of these so-called crypto gurus have barely been alive for 20 years. Seth has not only experienced personal success from his own investments in crypto, he has also helped his clients earn 6- and 7-figure incomes, including helping investors make over $750,000 in EOS in 90 days and 1,225% in only 5.5 months with Chainlink. Seth has help for the small do-it-yourself guy on up to crypto whales. Increase your wealth. Visit CryptoWealthCoach.com.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,518, silver at $18.67, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,581. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, in the state of California, up until this week, citizens who were able-bodied persons 18 years of age or older would be charged with a crime if a police officer asked them for help and they refused. All of that has since changed, as Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a bill that no longer requires or forces citizens to help police officers. The law was still on the books from the days of the Wild West. The California Posse Comitatus Act of 1872 made it a crime punishable by up to a $1,000 fine for refusing to respond to a police officer's call for assistance during an arrest. The Free Thought Project reports that it took until 2019 to change the bill that essentially turned citizens into indentured servants of police officers. Such bills were originally drafted as a means to garner help for cops who were attempting to catch fugitive slaves. As the Sacramento Bee points out, Posse Comitatus derives from medieval English common law, but saw widespread use in America's early days, including as a tool of enforcement for the Fugitive Slave Act. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. As YouTube, Google, and Twitter crack down on peaceful channels, censor alternative media, and allow child exploitation videos to flourish, the Federal Trade Commission has slapped the tech giant with a $170 million fine and other sanctions for unscrupulously and illegally tracking children. The Free Thought Project reports that the fine was the result of a lawsuit against the company for violating the rights of children under 13 years of age by tracking them online without their parents' consent. Politico reports that under a consent decree, YouTube will require users to self-identify whether videos they upload are meant for children, obtain parental consent before collecting personal information about kids, and provide its employees with annual training on how to comply with the children's privacy law. For the last 5 years, a serial rapist has terrorized the state of Georgia. At least 8 different cases of rape and sexual battery have been tied to 24-year-old Kenneth Bowen III. But until now, he has avoided getting caught. But all that changed when the very department who was investigating his case caught him after he began the process of becoming a cop. Clayton County Police Chief Kevin Roberts, during a news conference held last week, said, quote, "Had he not attempted to join ranks in the Clayton County Police Department, it is questionable as to when we would have apprehended him." When looking through police employee records, investigators found details that link Bowen to the cases. A search warrant to obtain Bowen's DNA was obtained last week, which linked him to at least 8 different attacks on women. After he was arrested, Bowen was charged with 7 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual battery. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, Spread liberty with a smile.
And in a surprise announcement this morning, U.S. Deputy Surgeon General Greg Paulson stated that, quote, "It's fine to smoke cigarettes if you only smoke while drinking." The Deputy Surgeon General has called a press conference to discuss the shocking findings, which began just moments ago. Let's go live to that now.
Was there a particular study this report was based on?
Look, that determination was made after considering that someone who only smokes when at bars or parties ends up smoking maybe 15 cigarettes a month, while regular smokers are smoking 150 to 200 cigarettes each week. So we feel that it's just obvious that as long as you don't actually buy the cigarettes and you only smoke them while consuming the alcohol, then the risks of getting lung cancer are basically mostly negligible. Just common sense.
This announcement comes on the heels of the Surgeon General's last announcement that drinking and driving is fine if you ate a lot that day or if it's a route you take all the time sober. Moving on, the Japanese Space Agency has announced plans to put a schoolgirl on the moon by 2015.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free if you want to join us here on the live Saturday edition of the program. Our number for you is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Coming up, we're going to tell you about one of the founders of one of the largest conversion therapy organizations. Do you know what a conversion therapy organization is?
Oh, yes. That's when they take gay kids into sort of a sleepaway situation, a boarding school situation, and they
pray
tell
the
them,
gay away.
Yeah, they tell them we can somehow fix your sexual proclivities, which are probably imprinted way, way, way in your youth, and but they've got some means or another to fix that.
It's praying, usually. But let's go.
It's usually praying, yes.
We're going to get into that story because the founder of one of those organizations has now come out as gay and is saying he's sorry for what he's done over the last 2 decades. That's on the way. If you want to comment on anything that's on your mind, our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. It's Ian and Mark here in our studio. We'll take your calls about anything. But also, last night on the program, I mentioned this story and we never got to it, so I want to make sure we do because I don't like teasing things and then never actually paying it off. So here is from TechCrunch about Facebook users. Yet again, Facebook has botched it up, and there's been another data leak, and this time hundreds of millions. Now, Facebook's only got like 2 billion users, right? I say only. That's a lot of users.
Yeah, sure.
But hundreds of millions, 419 million phone records have now been exposed. Apparently, they were found online. An exposed server contained more than 419 million records over several databases around about users across geographies, including 133 million records on U.S.-based Facebook users. That's more than a third of the population of the United States.
Jeez.
18 million users in the UK. And then another database with more than 50 million records on users in Vietnam.
Some of those users are likely duplicates, but I wouldn't think that it would be most of them.
Yeah.
I'd say a third of the population of the United States is probably not an entirely inaccurate statement.
Close to it, at least, yeah. But because the server, get this, wasn't protected with a password. So Facebook had a publicly facing server that had 400 plus million data entries, and there was no password on it.
Oh, those passwords are inconvenient.
Anyone could find and access the database. Each record contained the unique user's ID from Facebook and the phone number listed on the account. A user's Facebook ID is typically a long, unique, and public number associated with their account, which can be easily used to discern the account's username. The phone numbers have not been public in more than a year since Facebook restricted access to users' phone numbers. TechCrunch verified a number of records in the database by matching a known Facebook user's phone number against their listed Facebook ID, We also checked other records by matching phone numbers against Facebook's own password reset feature, which can be used to partially reveal a user's phone number linked to their account. So they took the data and they checked it to make sure that it was indeed from Facebook and was indeed of active users. Some of the records also had the user's name, gender, and even their location by country. It's the latest security lapse involving Facebook data after a string of incidents since the Cambridge Analytica scandal, which saw more than 80 million profiles scraped to help identify swing voters in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. But this is much larger. 400+ million people had their phone data exposed publicly. And it's hard to say that it's coming as a surprise. You know, it's never good news when this stuff comes out, but is it really unexpected that this, news has hit, that Facebook has screwed it up yet again?
Well, I mean, any organization that has information is liable to lose that information.
Yeah, that's right.
And anytime you give information to an organization, you need to be prepared that that information is going to be lost.
Or sold. Usually it's sold.
Well, the DMVs of our local towns have often been caught selling information.
That's right.
So sure, I mean, these are very important information. This is mild in comparison to some of the information the government has lost and stolen from you. And when the government just doesn't ask for your information like Facebook did. You don't have to have a Facebook account, ladies and gentlemen.
That's true.
You gave all the information to Facebook willingly.
And remember, they won't let you delete your account.
Well, not really.
Nope.
Not in real life.
You
It's
can
still
only
there.
deactivate the account.
You have deactivated your account,
That's right.
but you have not deleted it
Nope.
because you can't.
You cannot. So whatever data they got on you, they got it as long as they want to keep it.
Yeah.
And that'll be as long as they exist.
Right. And, Facebook is a yucky organization. I had a recent situation where we posted something on the Free Talk Live's Facebook page, and it was pulled down for hate speech. Now, you don't have to know much about me to realize that I don't believe in hate speech. However, what this was a art installation at as I understand it, a San Francisco museum, and it was "Should We Kill All White People?" was the title of it. And I put it up, and I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, for your information. Actually, I said, "What the F is whiteness?" Was my post, because I hadn't really heard that term whiteness before. And I posted that up online, and on Facebook, somebody reported it and pulled it down. Well, Facebook said they had a provision that allowed you to post a racist thing if you're pointing out that it's racist. I'm like, that's what I'm
racist.
doing.
Yeah.
So I appealed it, and they're like, nope, not that kind of racism, and off they go. And, I'm just of the opinion, why would I use this organization if it doesn't want to have a real conversation about racism?
Well, you're still using them.
No, I'm not.
No, you quit Facebook?
Well, I mean, I'm just not. I've steadily quit Facebook over time.
Okay, cool.
I use it for the Free Talk Live's Facebook page, but I mean, I was not excited about it.
The latest incident exposed millions of users' phone numbers, not just from their Facebook IDs, but also putting them at risk of spam calls and SIM swapping attacks, which relies on tricking cell carriers into giving a person's phone number to be an attacker, or to an attacker. When someone else's phone number, or with someone else's phone number, an attacker can force reset the password on any internet account associated with that number. Sanyam Jain, a researcher and member of the GDI Foundation, found the database and contacted TechCrunch after he was unable to find the owner. After a review of the data, neither could we. But after we contacted the web host, the database was pulled offline. Jain said he found profiles with phone numbers associated with several celebrities. Facebook spokesperson Jay Nancaro said the data had been scraped before Facebook cut off access to user phone numbers. Quote, "The data set is old and appears to have information obtained before we made changes last year to remove people's ability to find others using their phone numbers. The data set has been taken down, and we have seen no evidence that Facebook accounts were compromised." So I don't know what kind of CYA talk that is, but clearly accounts were compromised because there's 400-something million records available in this database. Facebook later claimed the server contained about 220 million records. But questions remain as to who exactly scraped the data, when it was scraped from Facebook, and why. Facebook has long restricted developers' access to user phone numbers. The company also made it more difficult to search for friends' phone numbers, but the data appeared to be loaded into the exposed database at the end of last month, though that doesn't necessarily mean the data's new. The latest data exposure is the most recent example of data stored online and publicly without a password. Although often tied to human error rather than a malicious breach, data exposures nevertheless represent an emerging security problem. In recent months, financial giant First American left data exposed, as did MoviePass, as well as the Senate Democrats. So, you never know who's going to fail. But
sounds like the Republicans next.
Oh, well, maybe so. But you never know who's going to screw up. And whenever you hand over information to any corporation, you're putting your data into their hands and you're trusting that they know what they're doing. And if they do know what they're doing, well, that's good. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't have somebody on the inside who is interested in collecting that data for whatever nefarious purposes. And they didn't even end up getting hacked. Maybe it was somebody who worked for Facebook who stuck a flash drive in a server and downloaded the database and then took off.
Well, I've talked to several data security professionals, and most of them say that the industry is in abysmal shape.
Really? As far as like people that know what they're doing,
yes.
They don't know what they're doing?
Stop trusting these organizations with your information if you care.
Right. Well, good luck getting an account without handing over a phone number. They demand that sort of stuff. There's more on the way. You can share your thoughts with us. 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live. You still using Facebook? We're coming up.
I am giving away $100 in Bitcoin Cash on September 2, 2019. And I'm not giving it away because I like giving away money. Quite the contrary. It's because I need a favor. Please go to demo.freetalklive.com and fill out the survey there as thoroughly as you like. There's an optional email slot, and if you put your email in there, you will forever be signed up for whatever prize I'm giving to incentivize people that month to fill out my form. Advertisers need this info on our listeners, so fill it out as truthfully as you can, please. Demo.freetalklive.com.
You know what sucks? Not being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, within legal and ethical constraints, of course. Being stuck in a boring job or stressful business, or living in fear that your wife or girlfriend might get mad at you if you do what you want. I'm Caleb Jones, and my staff and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create location-independent income and how to date women under your terms. Go to freelifeinfo.com to download 7 free books and podcasts so you can live a life like this too.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free, bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And I want to make sure you know about local.bitcoin.com. It is the brand newish site. Came out 3 months ago, so it's pretty new.
Pretty new.
Over at local.bitcoin.com, where you can sell or buy Bitcoin Cash with dozens of payment methods. Now, I will say this. If you are intending to sell, you need to make sure you do your due diligence and be cautious. There are some of the payment methods that are reversible, and so if you want to avoid that, you want to avoid those payment methods like PayPal, for instance. But it's there for those of you that want to take the risk, or if you're a buyer, there's not really much risk to you if you're buying with things like PayPal. So go to local.bitcoin.com and you can get started there. And you have to understand that on the positive side of local.bitcoin.com, there's no know your customer requirements, meaning that when you sign up for the account, you don't have to give over your identification. And that's because local.bitcoin.com does not hold your funds at any point. It's just a site that basically, through smart contracts, allows you...
They can't lose your information like Facebook recently
because they didn't even ask you for it. There's nowhere for you to even give it to them if you wanted to. But that also means that there's anonymity. And so when there's anonymity, you're going to have a higher chance that you might be dealing with a scam artist. So also be very aware of what you're doing there. Check it out over at local.bitcoin.com, but there is definitely some money to be made as more and more people get into buying and selling Bitcoin Cash at local.bitcoin.com.
Again, for buyers, the dangers are far lower
than for sellers. Yeah. That's absolutely true. So we can continue here. Facebook losing 400 plus million records on users. I mean, Facebook still has the records, but they leaked it out, or somebody leaked it out to a open-facing server on the internet. Some security researcher found it. You know, how they find these things, I don't know, but you know, these guys are technical wizards, so they certainly know how to do this stuff.
Find them and then write a story about them.
Found it with no password on it, downloaded the whole thing, took a look at it, compared it to people they knew on Facebook, and looked, oh, yep, that's the right number. Yep, that's the right number. This is it's a real database. You know, it's not some sort of bunk information. And, you know, that's really all there is to the story, right? Like, hey, if you were on Facebook, there's a good chance, if you're in the United States, 130-something million people in the United States records were in this database. Now, I don't know if all 300 million Americans are on Facebook. I doubt it's all 300 million, so let's just say they've got 200 and some million. There's a good chance your phone number is in this database.
Yeah.
So what can people do with that phone number? Well, I mean, they don't own the phone number necessarily, but if somebody knows what your number is, it's certainly been possible for... there's a certain type of what's called social engineering.
Yes.
And that's
tricking people.
Right. That's right. So it doesn't matter how hardened your software is, right? Like you may have the best software with like, you know, firewalls and all kinds of, you know, stuff to keep people out, keep the bad guys out. But at the end of the day, your cell phone account is administered by somebody who's running, you know, an operator server, you know, what you dial 0 or whatever you call your cell phone company. You need to check your bill or pay a bill or something like that, or you need to change your address or whatever it is you need to do. You're going to get a human being on the line at some point. And these people who are collecting information about you, if they know your number and they know that the company that you are doing business with isn't particularly, you know, security oriented, because like they might ask you for what's your birth date or what's your mother's maiden name or whatever. I don't know. I've not called cell phone companies to do much of anything in my lifetime, so I don't know what security levels they have as far as protecting, but it may be something very, very simple that the average social engineer, hacker, or whatever can easily bypass, so long as they know your phone number. Oh, yes, this is Mark Edge. My number is blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I need you to transfer this to this transfer my number to this new phone that I got. That's probably a pretty common one, right? You buy a phone on the internet, one of these, unlocked phones or whatever,
Sure.
and then you call to take over that person's phone number. Well, then guess what? You've got the phone that you can then access their bank accounts through. So, like, your bank account might send one of those text messages to you to verify that you're really logging in. So, again, that presumes they have your bank account login information. But remember, most people, this is a bad security plan, but most people follow this plan, use the same password across every single website and device that they have.
Yeah.
So, if one database leaks out...
What's the alternative?
Password manager.
Okay, what's that?
There's multiple programs. I'm not going to recommend one is the best because I have not audited all of them. I don't know.
I use
LastPass. And that is a password manager that allows you to generate passwords that are different for every website that you visit. And it stores all those super complex. You can have as many characters as you want. You tell them how many characters you want, they generate some random complex password for you.
And it holds it.
And it holds that securely.
With one password.
And it's all behind one password. That's why it's called LastPass, because you only have to remember one password, which is the password to get into your LastPass, and then LastPass remembers the rest of them. But if you're one of these people that uses the same password for every single website, and then the inevitable happens, and a website gets hacked, and the database of all those people's passwords comes out, hits the dark net, gets picked up by whoever's willing to pay $50 or whatever it is, whoever's charging. I don't know what they charge for these things. $1,000, I don't know. But they pick up that information. Well, then they've got your password, and now they got your phone number. So, I mean, it's just a matter of, A, B, C, and then they're into your bank account.
It's the full Monty.
Right? So, just... when you hear that, Facebook lost your phone number, doesn't sound like it's that bad on the surface, but that could have been
somebody from Malaysia going to call me? What's the big deal?
That could have been the final key that some hacker was looking for, so now they can use their phone to call your phone company and switch your phone service over to their phone and then have access to all of your bank accounts and that sort of thing if they have your password.
I got to admit, Ian, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're thinking of it. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah, the hackers are thinking of it.
So anyway, that's what you need to be concerned with. And I'm not saying there's a solution here. I mean, the solution is to not use any website that requires this data, but that's almost impossible. If you're going to be online, you're going to be turning over data to these websites, and you're going to be trusting that they're going to hold it securely.
Right. This isn't unique to Facebook.
So the best solution here, again, get off Facebook. That'd be a great idea, but that's still not going to solve this problem of having companies lose your data. The best solution is to have different passwords to every single website that you use, which means using a password manager, because there's no way anyone but a machine could remember hundreds of passwords. I mean, you'd have to. It's insane to try to think that somebody could possibly remember more than a few different passwords.
Yeah, that's what they do better than we do, is remember long digits and stuff like that.
Right. So it's a pain in the butt. I know.
It's much easier to use password with with a 4 instead of A.
2 or whatever. Yeah. But look, I know it's a pain in the butt, because in order to if all your websites are the same password, then if what I'm telling you to do is change all those passwords, then that's a huge task, right? To go through all the sites you use regularly and get this password manager and generate a new password and update the password on every single website. Now, to be fair, the LastPass and some of these other managers have sort of an automated system that'll help you with a bunch of sites where they know how to go through the password changing process, and they'll kind of walk you through it and make it easier. But still, it's pain. Question is, do you want your data to be breached? And what are you willing to do to prevent that? There's more coming up here. If you got a better idea, you might share.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com.
I am giving away $100 in Bitcoin Cash on September 2, 2019. And I'm not giving it away because I like giving away money. Quite the contrary. It's because I need a favor. Please go to demo.freetalklive.com and fill out the survey there as thoroughly as you like. There's an optional email slot, and if you put your email in there, you will forever be signed up for whatever prize I'm giving to incentivize people that month to fill out my form. Advertisers need this info on our listeners, so fill it out as truthfully as you can, please. Demo.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You know how annoying it is when someone keeps stopping mid-sentence as though he or she were asking you a series of questions? Avoid doing that. It sounds unnervingly tentative, and it imposes upon the listener to help you complete the thought. And if you're a job seeker, this alone could be a deal killer. An effective communicator sounds more confident. Complete the thought. Avoid making the listener impatient. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. Cutting through the clutter rather than blending into the blah, blah, blah will help you connect better no matter what the conversation. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook. Survivalspeech.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. You can join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And in the studio with you here tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
Plus, you can join us online. Just head over to freetalklive.com. We have our Discord server, as I mentioned. That's where people are chatting with each other, listeners of ours, talking about various different subjects. There's different rooms in which you can join the conversation. There's one called On Air Now, where people tend to hang out during the live show. There's also cryptocurrency discussion room. There's one about New Hampshire general discussion, one about just like movies and pop culture and stuff like that. So head on over to discord.lrn.fm. You can get involved there. It is completely free. That's discord.lrn.fm. So we were talking about internet security, which
it just continues to be breached in various different locations, and what the best thing to do to prepare yourself, because it's just a matter of time before something gets leaked out. I remember I got one of those emails, Mark. I don't know if you've gotten one of these. I mean, probably a lot of people have received them, but if you have like Google or Yahoo or something like that with a spam trap, they're probably automatically sent to spam, so you usually don't end up seeing them. But usually the email's like, I know what you've been doing.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching you with a secret camera that I've, or like I've got your access to your camera and I'm watching.
Right.
You
I mean, pretty much
yourself.
every laptop has a camera on it, and a lot of computers do too. So, it's not a surprise if somebody got a keylogger and was able to see what you're seeing on your screen and knowing what sites you're going to. And I
know where you've been going.
I've heard this song on the internet called "The Internet is for Porn," right? Right. And I suspect that a good percentage of my listening audience has, in fact, used the internet for porn, and they're probably not entirely proud of it, most of them. So
then the threatening email comes in,
right.
And it's like, I know where you've been going, and I've got video of you touching yourself, and I'm going to release it unless you give me $1,000 worth of Bitcoin to this address. And the interesting thing was that in one of these emails, it actually contained an old password of mine.
How did it have an old password? I don't understand.
Because
it hunted you down somehow.
No, because a database of passwords hit the internet, and it had one of mine in it.
Oh.
And it was one of those. It was one of those passwords that it was from back in. It was an old one. It was from back in the day when I did use the same password on a bunch of different websites before I had a password manager.
So you recognized it.
This is years ago. And I'm like, oh my god. So like that's when normally an email like that wouldn't make me think twice, but when I saw my own password in there, I was like, whoa.
That'll stop you in your tracks.
That's a little unusual. I'm not used to seeing that. But, I realized quickly, like, okay, well, this is just obviously a scam. Somebody got my old password somehow. Some database. And I don't know where it came from because, again, if you use the same password on a bunch of websites, you wouldn't know. But if you've got a different password on every website, then you might actually be able to say, oh, that came from this particular website. Now, of course, you wouldn't know if it's just a jumble of numbers and letters anyway, but regardless, that's a scam. Don't do it, folks. If you get that email, even if you're worried that they're going to release some video of you watching porn, it's BS. They don't actually have it. It's not true. Yeah, and who cares anyway? Oh no, somebody's naked on the internet.
Right, there's a lot of them, and you're not worth looking at, and chances are good.
Right. So
Pornhub has some things that are much more interesting to look at than you.
Yeah. So don't pay the ransom. Don't do it. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And again, if you've got a password manager and you've got different passwords for every website, then if one of them gets compromised, that's as far as the damage can go. It's just that one site, not the end of the world, whatever it was. All right, in other news, here is the story about the founder of Conversion Therapy, one of these conversion therapy organizations, apparently one of the largest ones. This is according to WashingtonExaminer.com. He has come out as gay, and he's sorry for what he's done. His name, McCrae Game? Yeah, G-A-M-E, McCrae Game, age 51, the founder and leader of Hope for Wholeness in South Carolina, publicly revealed his sexuality in June this year, more than 2 years after he was fired by its board of directors. Oh, that's convenient. So he only decided to find his conscience after he lost his job.
Yeah, well, maybe he was fired for for coming out as gay or whatever, or getting caught.
Well, no, it says he was fired or he came out after. Well, I see what you're saying. Maybe he got caught and got fired. Anyway, he opened up about the situation in a Facebook post last week, which began, "I was wrong. Please forgive me. 20 years in ex-gay ministry, unpacking the memories," he wrote. In the discussions leading up to the Post and Courier coming to interview me, I told the young reporter that I'd still not unpacked for my having been fired. Quote, "It was just too painful. I've just been putting it off," unquote. It all had been stacked up on our home office, which is a wreck, thus taking it all up to the den, the young reporter, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he says, "I certainly regret where I caused harm," Game wrote, promoting the triadic model that blamed parents and conversion or prayer therapy that made people believe that their orientation was wrong, bad, sinful, evil, and worse, that they could change
was absolutely harmful.
Well, he's discovered this shortly after getting fired.
That's right.
He didn't come to this conclusion and then quit.
Correct.
He just got canned. He doesn't sound like the greatest of people, honestly.
How could he be a great person? I mean, he presumably, if you are in this position of gay conversion therapy minister guy whose job it is to convert the gays in your church population, your parents come to you with their son who's been dressing like a girl or whatever, and they say, "My God, my son he shouldn't be like this," and they hand him over to you, and you're telling them that, well, we can do something, we can just pray,
we'll fix this,
pray, and Jesus will come in, and this is just a choice, he can undo this. While at the same time, you yourself are a gay man, and you're obviously hiding, or you must be hiding your true intentions or your true beliefs, your true desires. You're suppressing those so you can do this job, trying to tell yourself that all these things that you're telling these people are true, when you yourself probably don't really believe it that firmly, because yourself are probably secretly, looking
Still
at
gay.
The gay side of Pornhub and secretly meeting men in bathrooms and wherever, which I don't have a problem with, just to be clear.
I have a problem if you're meeting men in public bathrooms. It's disgusting.
Yeah, that's a little weird, but as long as it's consensual, hey, whatever.
No, stay out of the bathroom. It's not consensual. Just get out of my bathroom.
Well, if it's your bathroom, then whatever. If it's a public bathroom, then...
No. Not acceptable.
If it's a public bathroom, then everybody owns it. That's the tragedy of the commons.
Agreed. It is a tragedy of the commons, and agreed people use it that way. However, we all know the rules. And,
if you're going to use the park bathroom, it's not going to be a pleasant experience, regardless of who was there before you.
If you're not willing to take them home, you shouldn't be willing to have sex with them. End of story.
Enough. I'm not saying I'm not saying I support bathroom sex, Mark, but,
I'm wholly against it.
Well, look, hey, I don't care what you do with your own body or where you do it. It doesn't bother me. But when you aren't being honest with yourself, and further, you're not being honest with others because of your own dishonesty with yourself, then you're creating a whole mess of problems. And if this guy's realizing this now and he's coming out about it, well, there's some kind of value in that. But I do agree with you, Mark, that it's a lot. It's a little too late.
It's mitigable
here in a lot of cases. He's done a lot of damage to a lot of people. He says, quote, "It's all in my past, but way too many continue believing there's something wrong with themselves and wrong with people that choose to live their lives honestly and open as gay, lesbian, trans, etc." He continued saying, quote, "Learn to love yourself and others." In an interview with the Post and Courier published Saturday, Game called the process, quote, "not just a lie, but very harmful, because it's false advertising," meaning the idea of being able to cure someone of their gayness is false advertising. And that's because, for most of them, they were born with it. I'm not saying there's not somebody out there who chose, to be gay. But usually...
there's this Kinsey scale, and people tend to be where they are.
Right. But most of them will tell you that they were born that way, that they've always felt that way. If you want to share your thoughts with us, maybe you've been through one of these conversion therapy classes, it's Free Talk Live.
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what Dr. Joe has to say.
Hypertension runs in my family, unfortunately. I started having problems a number of years ago, and I had heard the commercials a number of times, and I personally do not like the idea of being on medications. Even though I'm a physician, you would think, that's our thing, but we just don't like it. So I figured, I'll start the product, and I did, and I got to tell you, it does help. By the grace of God and that product, my labs come back really good all the time, right on the money. I used to always have cold toes in the wintertime, and I used to love going down to Florida for my medical conferences. But since I've been taking the product regularly, I don't have that problem anymore. You got a great product there, Don, and I just wanted to tell you how appreciative I am. Thank you so much.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite. Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow, and like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat, I would flip-flop all night long, I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you can move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry my pillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's MyPillow.com or 800-870-0305 with promo code GCN.
Free Talk Live.
You can tell by the way they're dressed, by their demeanor, that these are illegals. Okay. Do you understand that they bring in leprosy and tuberculosis?
Oh, God, here's the leprosy. Show me the news story about leprosy and not some crackpot website.
Do you understand this is our country and this is about our children?
Wait, stop the jingoistic crap. You're picking and choosing. You're saying that a bunch of murdering, raping lepers are coming across the border.
Oh, yes, they are.
No, that's nuts, Trish.
There's a leprosy colony.
If that was the case, then in fact we would all know about it. I mean, it sounds like the night of the living dead down there at the border, and they're just coming across looking for the brains.
You think CNN and Fox News is going to tell you this? You got another thing coming.
Why wouldn't they? It'd be great for ratings.
By design, it's meant to bring this country.
Oh, now there's a conspiracy behind it, right? You're going to tell me the NWO's behind all this?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, but it helps if I have the right phone screening software pulled up, and I haven't for the entire show. So sorry to everybody that's been waiting patiently on hold.
Professional broadcasters.
It's actually the second time that I've done that. We've got a new phone screening system here in our studio.
Nobody wants to hear your
That
excuses.
happens to be the exact same one that they use at our network studios.
So it looks remarkably
and
like
it looks exactly the same. And
it's the same.
I set it up last night, and I'm like, I'm going to put LRN.FM on the new one, so I'll notice if it's up instead of the other one. And I didn't notice it.
No,
so.
it's just some writing.
But
at the
we
top.
do have the calls that are on hold, and we are going to get to them. But also, I want to make sure that you know about Balance of Nature, which is a new sponsor here on Free Talk Live. I've been taking this stuff, and so have you, Mark.
Yeah, I've been taking Balance of Nature, and it is it's a product that, for instance, they've got the fruits and veggies there. You take these 3 tablets of the vegetable capsules and 3 tablets from the fruits capsules, and you get 10 servings of fruits and vegetables in a day. And that's pretty much all you need out there. So there's some days when we can't eat as good as we'd like, and Balance of Nature has the solution for you.
Sort of filling in those days.
Yeah,
right?
they got claims here as far as what people report. Skin looks better, and bags under their eyes go away, and increase in energy. Body pain's reduced or goes away. Getting sick less or not at all. And
your mileage may vary.
Right. Well, I mean, a good nutrition is going to do lots of things for you. And if you have bad nutrition, then yeah, there's a lot of opportunity to feel better. So you can go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you the best pricing and free shipping. And after your third month, Balance of Nature will ship to you at no extra charge an additional set of fruits and veggies. This is a limited time offer, so don't wait. Go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FTL. Balanceofnature.com, coupon code FTL, and it's a good product. They deliver what they say they're going to. Balanceofnature.com.
I was actually pleasantly
FTL.
surprised with the fiber mix stuff that they have. It's just like a bunch of spices. I thought that was going to be pretty awful to get down, but it actually wasn't as bad, near as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was all right. So we'll continue here. We'll take your calls and thoughts. We got Olivia listening in Arizona, watching on YouTube. Go ahead, Olivia.
Hey, Ian and Mark. I just have to say it's a great show tonight.
Thank you.
One thing that's really interesting to me is that you brought up codes, and literally 2 days ago, I got slapped with one of those notices. My vegetation is out of control, which sounds really interesting. It sounds like my cacti are going on a rampage, smashing cars, but no, it just means I'm supposed to cut my grass. So tomorrow I get to spend $100. I can't really afford to have someone cut my grass. I'm out of state right now. So
wow.
And
how long is too long when it comes to grass?
Right, like here's the thing. It's the desert, right? It's South Arizona, so it's very.
You have grass? You're in southern Arizona and you have grass?
There's grass that literally won't die. It'll grow in the walls of your house. It'll grow through the walls. It's the toughest stuff I've ever seen in my life.
Wow. Desert grass.
It grows in patches, like next to the sidewalk. Maybe some moisture gets trapped just enough in there, and it goes crazy.
Huh.
But the thing that kills me is I call the number back on the notice, and basically the code enforcement official, he almost sounded like a police officer, honestly. It's like, well, you have it. People are calling in complaining. You have an obligation to, it's just giving me the spiel. And I'm like, I don't owe them anything, Well, city council, and I'm just sitting there thinking, am I renting this land from?
Yes,
you are.
The reality is you are renting the land. If anybody's listening to me and they think they own their property, you got another thing coming. If you pay an organization regularly to not kick you out of your property, you don't own it.
That's interesting, because I noticed last night on the Discord discussion, there was two people I don't know if they were arguing, but they were discussing in Fiji, evidently you could buy an acre of land pretty cheap, and so a lot of people did to have some kind of retirement home or a rental property. Well, now the government of Fiji a few years back, as I understand it, if your house wasn't worth so many $100,000, they started slapping you with a fine, and if you couldn't pay it, they'd take the land back. And
Lovely.
So they were arguing, is that okay versus, well, if you're not there, is the government obligated to enforce that? So I was kind of interested to hear what you think.
I think that this is sort of one of those interesting situations, and I'm not necessarily going to come down one side or the other on homesteading. So let's take the very, very wealthy individual who buys a whole bunch of land, and the poor guy who just sort of sets up a shack on, some tiny little corner of this land, doesn't bother the rich guy at all. So the one guy sets up the shack. He begins improving the land, doing things better and better. And at some point, maybe 10 or 15 years later, the rich guy discovers the poor guy on his land. At that point, the poor guy's spent a lot of time there improving the land over time, and this is what homesteading is. Should the rich guy be able to have millions and millions of acres of land? Well, I'd say on one hand, no. I mean, improving land, it makes it yours, and that a person only needs so much, and to hold it out of circulation is bad. However, that also makes it so organizations like the Nature Conservancy, and Ducks Unlimited, and a few others out there, who actually buy land and then do nothing with it.
For the purpose of keeping it in its natural state.
Keeping it in its natural state. Don't we want that?
Some people do.
Isn't that a free market solution to parks and recreation, that sort of thing?
It is.
I mean, these organizations do let you go and use the land. You just can't build on it. So I think that there's interesting questions on both sides.
I agree.
And I would say that, in today's modern world, if you can show a clear title to something, then I'm going to have to probably err towards you. But I see the arguments towards homesteading at the same time.
Olivia, did you say you were talking about this on our Discord server recently with our listeners?
Oh, I noticed two people last night were talking about that in the on-air chat room, I think.
Cool. So I just want to let our listeners know they can join the conversation over at discord.lrn.fm. And if you don't mind, what's your username there?
Can I keep it a secret?
Yeah, no, that's fine. We have a special category for female users. If they want to identify themselves, I'll give them a special category, but that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. So I don't blame you for wanting to keep that secret. Hey, thanks for the call tonight. I really appreciate hearing from you, but usually they have to verify that they're actually a female, and phone call is one way that can be done. So
I see.
Discord.lrn.fm. And the reason for that is because, well, look, the honest truth is there aren't that many women involved in the liberty movement, and so when they show up, it's kind of a special occurrence. So it's nice to know that we've got a few of them there.
If you're talking to a woman online,
server.
you probably should get verification anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Not a bad plan. So we continue. We've got David in New Mexico. He is online. David, go ahead.
Yeah, Epstein, a clue. But on the other subject you had, I once picked up a lovely young lady at a rest stop, but we had the courtesy to go somewhere else for our activities.
Picked up a lady at a rest stop.
They call those lot lizards.
No. This one was on vacation in Arizona. In fact, Olivia would probably even know where I'm talking about. The rest stop on the east side of the highway between Sedona and Flag.
All right. So what about Epstein? Let's get to the point.
In contrast to when I was in a public restroom in the college, and this man was trying to pick me up by pulling his thing out and playing with it and turning toward me and all that good stuff. So there's a definite difference there. Anyway, you're the one that was talking about it, so otherwise I'd have never thought of it. Epstein picking up young ladies too. And a clue, once again, the FBI, under the category that the FBI says that the state of New Mexico is the most corrupt state in the nation, including Illinois and New York. Mm-hmm. Epstein, very famous gentleman, I understand, did a lot of things that we've all heard about endlessly, and had made tens and tens and tens of thousands, over $100,000 at least, worth of political donations to the various members of the Democrat Party in the state of New Mexico, who just coincidentally happen to be in power right now, the governor and the attorney general, Hector Balderas, also a.k.a. Hector Bald Hairless, if you look at his photo. Okay. Anyway, so they've been in power in the past when Epstein was making lots of donations. And I don't think he was making too many to the conservative side. He was making them to the liberal side. And then he bought 7,000 acres of ranch land from the former governor of New Mexico, Bruce King, whose son was attorney general for a number of years. And
all right, so I don't know where this is going, but hang on. We'll let you finish this story about Jeffrey Epstein and his political ties coming up in Hour 3.
Anarchadelphia is a conference dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion, located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to shed light on issues such as geopolitics, blockchain economics, spiritual health and wellness, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge, featuring Mark Passio, Max Egan, Derek Brose, Jeff Berwick, and many more this September 13th through 15th. For info and tickets, visit anarchadelphia.com.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale, totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,518, silver at $18.67, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,581. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, in the state of California, up until this week, citizens who were able-bodied persons 18 years of age or older would be charged with a crime if a police officer asked them for help and they refused. All of that has since changed, as Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a bill that no longer requires or forces citizens to help police officers. The law was still on the books from the days of the Wild West. The California Posse Comitatus Act of 1872 made it a crime punishable by up to a $1,000 fine for refusing to respond to a police officer's call for assistance during an arrest. The Free Thought Project reports that it took until 2019 to change the bill that essentially turned citizens into indentured servants of police officers. Such bills were originally drafted as a means to garner help for cops who were attempting to catch fugitive slaves. As the Sacramento Bee points out, Posse Comitatus derives from medieval English common law, but saw widespread use in America's early days, including as a tool of enforcement for the Fugitive Slave Act. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. As YouTube, Google, and Twitter crack down on peaceful channels, censor alternative media, and allow child exploitation videos to flourish, the Federal Trade Commission has slapped the tech giant with a $170 million fine and other sanctions for unscrupulously and illegally tracking children. The Free Thought Project reports that the fine was the result of a lawsuit against the company for violating the rights of children under 13 years of age by tracking them online without their parents' consent. Politico reports that under a consent decree, YouTube will require users to self-identify whether videos they upload are meant for children, obtain parental consent before collecting personal information about kids, and provide its employees with annual training on how to comply with the children's privacy law. For the last 5 years, a serial rapist has terrorized the state of Georgia. At least 8 different cases of rape and sexual battery have been tied to 24-year-old Kenneth Bowen III. But until now, he has avoided getting caught. But all that changed when the very department who was investigating his case caught him after he began the process of becoming a cop. Clayton County Police Chief Kevin Roberts, during a news conference held last week, said, quote, Had he not attempted to join ranks in the Clayton County Police Department, it is questionable as to when we would have apprehended him. When looking through police employee records, investigators found details that link Bowen to the cases. A search warrant to obtain Bowen's DNA was obtained last week, which linked him to at least 8 different attacks on women. After he was arrested, Bowen was charged with 7 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual battery. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The Relationship Pro talks to your girlfriend so you don't have to.
We're joined today in our demo center by Eric and Pam, a couple that's been teetering on the edge of divorce for years.
So, Pam, you guys have been using the controller all morning. I understand it's a very good listener.
It's like talking to a fully developed person.
It's got to be a major relief not needing your husband to be your partner or a friend.
Oh, yeah.
So, Eric, it must be a tremendous relief to know that there's someone else on the other end of Pam's eye rolls.
Oh, now I can focus on my game instead of worrying about all that stuff she said there.
Will the Relationship Pro keep you two together?
I think it'll drag this thing out for another couple months.
Amazing. Now, to thank you two for coming on the show, we bought you two the new deluxe Relationship Pro Extreme.
This expanded model has 2 new modes. Fantasy mode, which allows you to select the age and nationality of the controller's voice.
Oh, I choose a voice like my dad's.
Okay. And a hyper-realistic mode that starts fights and then grovels pathetically when it's afraid you might get rid of it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. It's the live Saturday edition. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. A man has come out as gay. Now, that's not news in most cases.
Not news.
But it is when you've spent the last 20 years of your life trying to be a gay conversion therapist.
Yes, suddenly that's news.
Yeah, so we'll tell you more about that and give you more to that story. It's Ian and Mark here in the studio. But David is still on the line. He's in New Mexico. He wanted to talk about the New Mexico side of the Jeffrey Epstein case. Of course, listeners, if you've been somewhat tuned into the news over the past few months, you've probably heard about Jeffrey Epstein, the multi-millionaire, hundreds of millions, I think is what he was worth at the end, like 500 million or 300 million or something like that. Quite a bit. Financier, some question what he actually did to make money, but went to prison on charges of human trafficking, I believe is what they hit him with this time, if I recall correctly. And ended up turning up dead, allegedly, in a prison cell, which had suspiciously 2 cameras outside of it that were malfunctioning at the time of
Both at the same time.
his demise. But David had something to say because he had multiple houses, and one of them was a very large ranch out in New Mexico called the Zorro Ranch. And David, you are back on Free Talk Live. You were saying he has had been known to give large donations to the Democratic campaigns there in New Mexico, and ultimately ended up buying a large swath of land from one of those Democratic politicians. That's what you were telling us right before we had to go to the news break. Go ahead.
Yeah, he bought 7,000 acres from the King family dynasty in New Mexico. Bruce King, the father who's now passed, who is a close friend of Bill Clinton, sold the ranch land to Epstein. And like I said, Epstein had, these are all clues, and Epstein had made over $100,000 that we know of, donations to the Democrat side of the political system over the years, including Governor Bill Richardson and Gary King, I believe it was, the son of Governor Bruce King, who Gary King got himself elected to Attorney General and tried to get elected as governor. So there was some campaign donations there.
So what do you think all that
donations,
means? I mean, he likes Democrats.
What it means? Well, yeah, he's given donations to the Democrat side. Doesn't really look like anything's going to the Republican side.
Mm-hmm.
Spending time with people on the Democrat side, not really on the Republican side. So there are connections, and they're socializing. And he buys this property, builds the largest house in Santa Fe County, twice the size of the previous largest house. And then puts in an airstrip so he can fly somebody's in there without having to travel the roads.
It's very suspicious, right? I mean, that's pretty suspicious stuff.
Right. And I believe there is a photograph out there taken at the Zorro Ranch with the former governor Bill Richardson and Prince Andrew. And then Prince Andrew has been photographed at Epstein's New York place there, and photographed specifically when he was letting a young woman out of the front entrance and waving goodbye to her.
Yeah, that's actually video, not just photographs. It's video of him at the front door of that particular building. And then there's also the photo of Prince Andrew with, I think, Virginia Giuffre, I think was her last name, the accuser, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who was the main accuser against Epstein in the recent case, looking both very, very happy, big smiles on their faces. He's got his arm around her, and they're actually trying to claim now that photo's been doctored, that he actually wasn't there.
Right. And
trying to claim that, oh no, that's not his hand around her. His fingers are fatter than that.
In this new world of you can doctor anything, maybe we're right?
I don't know, man. It looks like a pretty legit photo. Go ahead.
The point of all of this, these different clues added together, that all in contrast to in the local news media, meaning print, radio, television, there is virtually no news on anything about Epstein, really, in regard to the authorities of the state of New Mexico, like Attorney General Hector Balderas, who might be interested in crimes being committed against, they may be somewhat morally acceptable if some 17-year-old wants to do whatever. However, it's in violation of the laws that these people themselves went to great lengths to legislate, to pass, and then are not following. So
what is the age of consent in New Mexico? Do you know?
I don't know for sure, but I think it is 16, but I don't know for sure.
Okay.
But the bottom line is that there's clear implication that this guy was breaking established laws. I mean,
17.
The guy actually went to prison.
According to the internet, ageofconsent.net says it is 17 years old.
Right, and apparently these young ladies were getting compensated for whatever. But the point is that the local power structure, Attorney General Hector Balderas, et cetera, don't seem to be interested in pursuing any of the potential crimes that.
Well, what are they going to do? He's dead.
Well, he had plenty of help. There were plenty of other people that were involved, like that Ghislaine Maxwell.
Can there be, is there such a thing as accessory to statutory rape?
Well, if it's human trafficking, it isn't necessarily one person. I mean...
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't know.
If all these politicians, Democratic or whatever, are involved in the underage trafficacking of young people,
or enough of them are. I mean, there may not be all of them. But.
Well, they need a good investigation.
Yes, there are plenty of other crimes that would have been committed in this situation, and the point is that none of it is being publicly acknowledged, which would lead the public to believe that the Attorney General here or anybody else in law enforcement in New Mexico isn't looking into it whatsoever, which would be very odd, and especially considering all of the clues, that the higher ups in the power structure in New Mexico were probably out partying at the house when those young ladies were present.
It's a great theory, and I think that you've made a strong case here, David, and I think you're onto something. I thank you for the call tonight. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Why, if there's all this evidence, have they done nothing about the things that were allegedly could have been going on there? And that's because he was their buddy.
They really don't want to catch these politicians and important folks.
They're all friends, I mean, even though that inside the politics there are some struggles over power, ultimately they all do agree that they ought to have power.
They agree on that.
Maybe they'll trade off here and there, and the Republican can take over, and the Democrat. Although I think New Mexico is pretty firmly Democrat state. They like their power. And maybe Epstein, had some dirt on some of these guys, and maybe they gave it to him because they wanted to be a part of his lifestyle or whatever. Who knows what actually was going on behind the scenes? I saw a headline this week that some John Doe has filed in a federal court case begging a judge not to release names and information from the Epstein files. I didn't know you could file as John Doe in a public court case. What? How is that an option? I mean, can I do that? Just, anonymously write a letter to a judge and file in a case?
It's funny.
I mean, I don't know enough about I've been in the court system as a criminal defendant on occasion for civil disobedience, but I didn't know that you could be anonymous and file anything in some case. I would think that would be enough to just get you kicked laughed out of court. Like, yeah, you've got to be on the record if you want to go to court. Who are you? Exactly. Well, apparently John Doe doesn't want those files to be released because it could mess some people's lives up. Well, yeah. 855-450-FREE. So I think David's probably onto something there with who knows how deep the corruption goes when it comes to the state government goons. And it's not just New Mexico. I mean, even if New Mexico is the worst of all the states, this stuff happens everywhere. 855-450-FREE. Jeffrey Epstein is probably just the tip of a very nasty iceberg. There's more coming up.
You're not a wild animal, and you shouldn't be tagged and tracked like one. Where you go and what you do every minute of the day, tracked and recorded by your mobile phone, is often more revealing than your browser history. And tech companies make a fortune selling your location history without your consent. GoDark bags prevent location tracking and protect your privacy by instantly blocking all cell phone, GPS, and Wi-Fi signals to your mobile device. Plus, they're durable, water-resistant, and built for a lifetime of protection. Visit GoDarkbags.com/FTL. That's GoDarkbags.com/FTL.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help. Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite. Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free. New improved Lico Chops with omega-6, omega-3, vitamin E, and now 6 extra direct-fed microbials. Even better for the digestive tract and immune system. And dogs love it. Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free. This is Henry Lukasevic for Dynavite.
DINOVITE.com.
Do you have a crypto wealth advisor or coach? If so, has your cryptocurrency advisor been investing in technology stocks for over 20 years? Have they left the corporate world and retired? Or are they still trying to make a weekly paycheck? Have they produced 6-figure results for their customers in the past 30 days? And very importantly, are they a member of the Digital Currency Council? Seth Maniscalco is the founder of Crypto Wealth Coach and CryptoWealthCoach.com. Seth invested in his first Roth IRA at 19 years old while living abroad and has been investing in Wall Street and technology for over 20 years with experience in all the money markets. By comparison, so many of these so-called crypto gurus have barely been alive for 20 years. Seth has not only experienced personal success from his own investments in crypto, he has also helped his clients earn 6- and 7-figure incomes, including helping investors make over $750,000 in EOS in 90 days and 1,225% in only 5.5 months with Chainlink. Seth has help for the small do-it-yourself guy on up to crypto whales. Increase your wealth. Visit CryptoWealthCoach.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm.
If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Dial toll free and bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And of course, you can take control of the airwaves here. You don't have to talk about the hypocrisy of a man spending 20 years of his life telling people that he can cure them of their gayness, while the entire time he himself was actually gay. The story in more detail coming from the Post and Courier out of Spartanburg. I think that's South Carolina. Anyway, McCrae Game is his name, and he's gay. He was gay, according to Michael Makrowitz at the Post and Courier, when he received counseling from a therapist who assured him he could overcome his same-sex attractions. He was gay when he married a woman and founded what would become one of the nation's most expansive conversion therapy ministries.
I bet she's a little disappointed.
He was gay when thousands of people just like him sought his organization's counsel, all with the goal of erasing the part of themselves that Game and his associates preached would send them to hell. For 2 decades, he led Hope for Wholeness, a faith-based conversion therapy program in South Carolina's upstate. Conversion therapy is a discredited practice intended to suppress or eradicate a person's LGBTQ identity through counseling or ministry. But the group's board of directors abruptly fired Game in November of 2017. In June of this year, he publicly announced that he is gay and was gay and severed his ties with the organization. Now, the man once billed as a leading voice in conversion therapy movement is trying to come to terms with the harm that he has inflicted, while also learning to embrace a world and community that he assailed for most of his adult life. If you were to meet McCrae Game, age 51, you'd catch on quickly that he likes to talk. He's loud and carries his thin build with confidence. Game is one of the many former conversion therapy leaders who have left the movement and come out as LGBTQ. So this isn't like a one-off thing.
No, happens all the time.
Right. It's not unusual that a lot of these people who are in the business of trying to stop gayness are they themselves actually gay and trying to suppress a truth about themselves. And they're trying to, lash out at others, to threaten others in order to avoid dealing with their own issues. In 2014, 9 founders and leaders from some of the country's most prominent programs and ministries wrote an open letter calling for a nationwide ban on the practice. Now, that's not the solution. I don't think we need to be threatening. I don't think the solution to a bad program is more violence and more threats, right? Because the threat of hell is essentially a threat of violence, right? Like, it's not going to be enacted by the person threatening it, so it's not the same thing as a real threat. Like if I say I'm going to kill you, then that's a real threat or whatever. If you were taking me seriously.
But going to hell is infinitely worse than being killed.
But you can't call the cops on somebody who says, if you do that again, son, you're going to burn in hell. You can't call the cops on that because that's not actually legally a threat because the person who's saying it cannot enact it, right? But in this case, it's still a pretty scary thing because people believe in hell, even though it's a silly man-made concept that's designed to scare people into compliance. They still believe in it, and it's an effective tool at manipulating people. So
many Christian sects do not believe in hell. There's several of them that don't. Yeah.
What do they call themselves?
What do you mean?
You said there's many of them?
Oh, the Jehovah's Witnesses don't.
Okay,
and,
interesting.
Several. I mean, I would imagine. Yeah, there's several of them that don't. I mean, I can't tell you all of them and what all their beliefs are or anything like that. But the Jehovah's Witnesses stand out glaringly as an organization that does not believe in hell.
Yeah. So I don't think that the solution of banning this conversion therapy is a good idea. There's all kinds of kooky programs within various religions around the country, and many people don't agree with these practices. Remember, Mark, years ago we talked about the Fundamentalist Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and how they like to marry at super young ages, and it's pretty weird. And they take the boys and they sort of shut them out or shun them and
right. So they marry off young girls to older men,
older guys, and it's weird, but it's their beliefs, it's their religion. They should be free to practice it.
And anybody who doesn't like it should be free to leave.
To leave, absolutely. The letter was published by the National Center for Lesbian Rights. Quote, as former gay or ex-gay leaders having witnessed the incredible harm done to those who attempt to change their sexual orientation or gender identity, we join together in calling for a ban on conversion therapy. It is our firm belief that it's much more productive to support, counsel, and mentor LGBTQ individuals to embrace who they are in order to live happy, well-adjusted lives. The last part's probably true, but having a government crackdown on this practice is going to be even worse than,
the consequences will be worse. And you need to have, religious freedoms, sadly, do extend to sort of other people, right? Like, like religions are groups, and groups have shared beliefs, and that makes things difficult. You need to be able to raise your kid as you want to raise your kid, even if I say that it's not, I don't think it's right. But ultimately, if you can't raise your kid the way you want to raise your kid, then I can't raise mine the way I want to raise mine.
And who decides?
Well, yeah. I mean, I can assure you there are plenty of people that work for government schools that do not believe that I raise my kid correctly because we homeschool.
There's more to the story, but let's go to your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE. Michael is in Alaska watching us on Twitch. Go ahead, Michael.
Hi. I just wanted to say that me being gay myself, I think that it's like very disrespectful for that guy to assure people of something that is not wrong with them, and then fuck my ass, nigger.
You can't say that on the radio. It's too bad. He almost sounded like he was intelligent. 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number here. 855-450-3733. And it is unfortunate what this person did. Not that caller, but the person in question here, Mr. Game. He told the Post and Courier, quote, conversion therapy is not just a lie, but it's very harmful because it's false advertising. Unquote. Nearly 700,000 LGBTQ identifying adults have undergone conversion therapy treatments or counseling, according to a 2018 study by UCLA's Williams Institute. In fact, one of our co-hosts. If you're listening only to Saturday shows, you probably haven't heard Aria DiMezzo, but she's on our Monday and Tuesday shows pretty regularly. And they put her into one of these camps. Her parents.
She's still pretty bitter about it.
Oh, yeah. They sent her away to one of these Pray the Gay Away camps. And guess what? It didn't work. And now she's just bitter and angry about the experience. It was
instead of coming out of the closet, she kicked out the front door and ran down the street. Like, I mean, it's quite queer, I guess, is the terminology one uses.
The various forms of conversion have been tied to emotional and psychological trauma for many, including depression, anxiety, and thoughts of suicide. It's been condemned by virtually every major medical group in the United States, including the American Psychological Association and American Medical Association. So, if you care about the person that we're talking about, your child or cousin or whoever it is, and you're worried about them, well, you're not going to help them by sending them to conversion therapy. You're going to cause them even more mental stress, as though it weren't hard enough to be, gay or queer in society in general. It's certainly not as hard now as it maybe has been in the past, but in the Deep South, it's probably still not that easy.
Yeah.
There's more coming up here. 855-450 free, like freedom, if you want to share your thoughts. Free Talk Live. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
I am giving away $100 in Bitcoin Cash on September 2, 2019. And I'm not giving it away because I like giving away money. Quite the contrary. It's because I need a favor. Please go to demo.freetalklive.com and fill out the survey there as thoroughly as you like. There's an optional email slot, and if you put your email in there, you will forever be signed up for whatever prize I'm giving to incentivize people that month to fill out my form. Advertisers need this info on our listeners, so fill it out as truthfully as you can, please. Demo.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is a special alert for business owners, consultants, coaches, folks planning retirement, entrepreneurs, and anyone who is saving and investing to build a financial future. You are likely aware that financial privacy for most people has recently died a miserable death. And let's face it, without privacy, there really is no security, is there? Bankrupt governments and banks on the verge of collapse are perhaps the biggest threat to your financial future today. The Lighthouse Law Club recognizes this and has been working diligently to provide safe, secure, and productive tools to ensure your privacy, your financial security, and your future financial well-being, despite the catastrophes which many people fear are looming ahead of us. Find out more with a variety of free videos on the YouTube channel for Lighthouse Law Club. Just search YouTube for Lighthouse Law Club and secure your future today.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything that you want. Although we're talking about the latest version of one of these conversion therapy ministers who has 20 years later now come out against the process and has revealed himself as a gay man. And guess what? He was gay the whole time. He didn't just choose after getting fired after 20 years to become gay. He was gay the whole time he was preaching against it. It's Ian and Mark here in the studio. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Coming up in 1 week, the State of Anarchy, which is a great show that have actually had us on as guests. They're putting together their very first conference. It's called Anarchadelphia. It's happening September 13th through the 15th. It's dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion. And it's located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to promote self-ownership by shining light on issues ranging from geopolitics to blockchain economics and spiritual health and wellness, as well as by exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge. Featuring a bunch of speakers, including Jeff Berwick and Derek Brose, Luke Rudowski, Kerry Wedler, and many more of the most influential minds in the freedom community. All Anarchadelphia guests are invited to attend 3 uniquely stylized after-parties Friday through Sunday.
That part sounds like a lot of fun.
These guys are fun guys, so
yeah,
I
they're
suspect
fun kids,
it's going to be a good event where they can let loose with their favorite freedom advocates. So for more information, go to anarchadelphia.com and follow them on social media for updates. That's anarchadelphia.com. And I've heard people talking about this in advance. I've actually heard people say they're planning on traveling up there after having heard about it here on Free Talk Live. So thank you if you're going to be going to that event. Unfortunately, I can't make it. I really wanted to go. I have something else to attend that particular weekend involving a former girlfriend of mine who passed away last summer. But I hope that everybody that goes really has a good time. Because we were talking with them at Anarcha Vegas, and it really sounded like they got a cool event.
Yeah, it really does.
Anarchadelphia.com. All right, so we continue here. Your calls and thoughts. We got another caller on the line from Twitch. I'm just going to say this in advance before we take this call. If you're new to radio, and you may be new to radio if you are watching us on Twitch, which is an online video streaming service for those that aren't familiar with what that is. For our radio listeners that don't know what Twitch is, you can go to twitch.lrn.fm. You can actually watch the show, which is a pretty cool thing. It's a great video streaming service. But many of the people there are young and
they've never heard of a dump button.
They don't know what that is.
A dump button is, well, it's a piece of software or hardware that allows us to be 7 seconds behind. When we say Free Talk Live is live, that's not exactly true. We're 7 seconds into the past or into the future from what's being broadcast. So if you get on air and you say a variety of words, a small variety of words, but if you say those words, your butt is dropped and the things you said don't make it on the radio.
No. You'll hear them on Twitch, but that's it.
Yeah, they don't make it on the podcast. They don't make it on a whole variety of things. Yes, you'll hear it on Twitch, but you can get your own Twitch channel and say all kinds of terrible words on it, so you don't need to come on ours.
Yeah, and
Go
by
ahead,
the way,
Twitch caller.
Right. So with that preference, or not preference, but preface. Yeah. We got a whole 24 viewers on Twitch tonight. So actually we're doing pretty good on Twitch compared to a typical night. So that's about as far as it's going to go. Joe in South Carolina, you are on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hi. So before I get into my story, I'm going to need to tell my brief story, which will lead up to what I'm about to talk about.
All right.
So basically, we were in church, and my mother was pregnant. So she went into labor while we were in the church.
And what kind of church?
And then it's a Catholic church.
Okay. And this is in South Carolina? Where are you calling from?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, and the moment I was born, I felt weird. So then as the years passed, I started to feel different.
How could you remember? You actually are claiming to remember the moment you were born?
Oh, no, I just hear stories all the time.
Okay.
So when somebody says you felt weird, did they feel you and they called that feeling weird? Or they, I mean, how?
I know from the way I am now, being a proud LGBTQ member, I know that I was different before, and then I felt weird because I knew I could change. And then now, I'm proud of myself and who I am.
And which letter are you?
And G.
So you're a gay man. Okay, gotcha. Go ahead.
And it's hard.
What's hard?
Being the G.
Being the G. How old are you?
And being Catholic.
I bet that is. Yeah, I don't imagine Catholics are particularly friendly.
Catholic's a big religion. They have all kinds of sects, and it's difficult to sects. And they have different feelings on different topics. So there's liberal Catholics, there's conservative Catholics, and just find the right ones would be my advice.
So are you still? How old are you right now? Yeah, how old now are you?
I'm now 16.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever problems you're having do get better as life goes on. High school and all the pressures of being a teenager, these kind of things. Yeah, that's probably the worst part of being gay.
But yeah, the real question I have is, should I?
Oh shoot! He said, "Should I?" and I accidentally dropped his call. I'm sorry, man.
Just as the problem
Trigger
of being
finger.
a talk show. I have to forgive you because I thought the same thing as soon as he
Here
said
it comes, right? Like, here's the real question. Okay.
Poor kid.
Sorry, buddy. You can call it. You can call in again, and we can try.
That's what
it.
I would call a technical difficulty, even though it's not technical.
Well, yes, it was my technical difficulty. I apologize about that, dude.
Poor kid.
All right, 855 450 free like freedom. Call us on Discord. Call us on Discord, then it'll be more clear with the words that you're saying. It would have been more clear to me that it was the word should rather than another one. Let's go on. So, from the Post and Courier about this guy coming out as gay after having been a conversion therapy therapist, whatever you want to call that, fraudster.
Like in charge of it.
Yeah, fraudster. Nearly 700,000 adults have undergone this conversion therapy. And, of course, that has resulted in many emotional and psychological trauma for those people, including depression, anxiety, and thoughts of suicide. So it made being gay even worse, because they were being told how awful they were and how they needed to change. And, of course, they didn't probably believe that they could change because they were always that way. So how could you change from something that you've always felt? Last year, the LGBTQ youth advocacy nonprofit Trevor Project launched 50 Bills in 50 States, a campaign lobbying for legislation in every state barring conversion therapy on youth, which is, again, not going to solve this problem. And that will likely be overturned because of religious freedom. I mean, if it's your religious belief that this can be changed, then you shouldn't be prohibited from having that religious belief or trying to share that religious belief, despite the ostensible damage that it causes. Because, Mark, you were damaged in a lot of ways. You aren't a gay man, but going to church is a kind of a burden that the stories they told you still bothers you to this day.
Yeah, my particular take on religion now is by no means what I was taught as a kid, and I'm sure that the people that were teaching that stuff had all the best intentions. But to me, the stuff doesn't make sense today, and everybody who's basically everybody out there as far as religion goes, they have their own little views of things. Very few people mirror someone else. They've all got their own personal relationship, and that's what religion should be, is your own personal relationship, rather than telling people how God is.
By the way, Joe is back on the line, the gentleman that I accidentally hung up on. So I'm going to ask you to, Joe, hang on. We're going to get to you here coming up in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live, and hopefully it'll be worth it. Hopefully he wasn't planning on saying something offensive at the end of the call. We'll continue in moments. And, of course, your thoughts are welcome. Joe is a gay young gentleman, and he's got things to say. So we'll get into that coming up here. And if you want to talk about conversion therapy or whatever is on your mind, you can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE.
Fellow Patriots, my name is Todd Savage, founder of BlackRifleRealEstate.com. Like you, I was a prisoner of the alt-left sanctuary state, until one day I chose to lead my family to freedom. Today we live on a sustainable 20-acre homestead where we shoot, hunt, garden, and homeschool our children without the tyranny of the nanny state looking over us. If you're ready to flee the city to the freedom of Idaho or Montana, our Black Rifle Real Estate team is here to help. Go to BlackRifleRealEstate.com. That's BlackRifleRealEstate.com.
I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to, so I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain, and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about Angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking Angioprim, the pain was gone, and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in Angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com, or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll free at 877-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp, is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. Moments remain, maybe enough time for you if you are on the line now. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. With you tonight, you've got Ian.
And Mark.
And we've also got a bunch of features on the website, including the AMP program. I want to say thanks to Piper, who is a Free Talk Live Silver amplifier. That means Piper is contributing $5 a month to the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. The idea is we give you the stuff on the website for Free Talk Live for free. So if you want to go and download archives that go back for more than a decade, no problem. Download them all. We don't care. If you want to watch the webcams on Twitch or DLive, cool. It's there. It's free. We've got a bunch of free features for you. But if you appreciate the work that we do, you appreciate the fact that we're talking about freedom and liberty and peace, cryptocurrency on a 7-night-a-week basis here on Free Talk Live across over 200 radio stations over the whole week, then you want to help us out a little bit. $5 a month is all it takes.
That's what Piper's doing as a silver amplifier. And you get some cool perks and bonuses. There's the AMP-only Facebook group that you can get into if you're still on Facebook. If you're on our Discord server, there's an AMP-only call-in line there. There's also the AMP discussion rooms on the Discord server. So there's some bennies that you get. But most importantly, it helps us get on more radio stations because it does take some money to, advertise to the radio business and reach out to program directors and that sort of thing. So we really appreciate it when you become an amplifier at amp.freetalklive.com. And I appreciate Joe in South Carolina for calling back in and giving me a second chance since I screwed up his call the first time. We've always got an itchy trigger finger when people call from watching on Twitch because there's a real problem with guys, saying words they're not supposed to say on the radio. So Joe, you'd called in to kind of share the difficulty of being a young gay man. You're 16 years old, and you grew up Catholic, and you were going to get to some sort of a point, and then I accidentally hung up the phone. So go ahead with what you were trying to say.
Yes, I was going to ask a question, is if I should come out to my priest, because I don't know if he'll try to cleanse me or ban me from my religion, but either way, I feel like it's a bad choice that I'll make if I come out.
I don't see how it would benefit you to come out to the priest. In my opinion, and I'd like to hear how you feel about this, Mark, I would say the best thing to do would be to just don't go to that church anymore. I mean, they're likely not going to be friendly towards. If you already know that they're somewhat hostile towards being gay in this particular version of Catholicism, then you're not going to convert them. That's for sure. So, the only point of coming out would be to say, "Ha, see you later." But there's no real point in rubbing their nose in it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I find coming out to be an odd thing because it seems to be uniquely a LGBT thing.
That's not true. I came out as, when I was an atheist, I came out as an atheist to my parents when I was a teenager.
Right. But if you're heterosexual or not an atheist or whatever, if you're not odd, then you don't have to come out. The heterosexual kids aren't telling the preacher that they're having, the priest, that they like, the opposite sex. So why bother telling him that you feel the same, you like the same sex? If you have to confess to the preacher that you've had naughty, inappropriate thoughts, then do so and do the amount of Hail Marys you've got to do or
well, now hold
whatever.
on. But wait. Do you actually believe in Catholicism?
He said he was Catholic.
I know that. Sorry, say again?
I do.
You do? Okay, well, yeah, then that is a problem, right? Because on the one hand, you follow the strictures of this religion. On the other hand, they may not necessarily welcome people that have your sexual orientation, and that could feel odd. I would say, start looking for a more friendly place, unless you happen to believe that your priest will be compassionate and friendly towards you, and you obviously know him better. You're the one that has some relationship with him or her. And we don't. But to me, it would seem like, you can still believe in God and not go to this church, right? You can still be a Catholic, right? And not go to this one, this one place. So, if you feel like this is going to be a burden upon you to come out to this person, or that it could make your life more difficult, then there doesn't seem to be any benefit to it. Now, I could understand why somebody in your position might want to come out to their parents, for instance, because, they may put you in awkward positions, like, try to set you up on a date with a girl or something like that, right? Like, there could be some sort of weird situation where you're like, yeah, that's not really for me. But if they don't know that that's not really for you, then they'll keep putting you in those awkward situations because you have to live with them, at least for another couple of years. But then again, if they're going to be absolutely terrible people about if you come out to them, that may indeed be a reason to just keep it quiet for the next 2 years until you're finally on your own. Then if you want to say something to them, at least then they can't, control your living conditions. So that's a tough question. And I think that's a question that really should be directed towards other people who've done the coming out process. And Mark and I, we're not gay, so we haven't done that particular form of coming out. When I came out as an atheist, and I'm no longer an atheist, but at the time as a teenager I was, my parents were supportive of me in that particular case. They said we would support you no matter what you decided to do. But not all parents are going to be as supportive. So, you know the situation better than any of us do, but I would say the best thing to do is talk to other people who are gay and who have come out and ask them what their experiences were like and what their recommendations would be. And Joe, thanks for being a good caller tonight here. I really appreciate the discussion, and I appreciate hearing from you. And of course, we're toward the end of this particular episode, but if you're listening to the show and you want to say something to Joe, you're always welcome to call in, another night and give your advice.
Yep.
In that circumstance. Let's go on though. We've got Emily. She's on the line listening to WNTK, which is a New Hampshire radio station, but she's in Louisville. Hello, Emily. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hi.
Hi.
I would suggest to he's not a man at 16, and I think it's important that
when does he become a man?
Well, your brain doesn't really finish growing until you're about 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd say for men it's even later than that.
Would it be fair to call him a young man?
He is a juvenile or a youth. I think what happened was the term boy became a dirty word, and you were not allowed to say boy. You couldn't call a young male a boy because it had been used as a derogatory term against African Americans many years ago.
Well, I just wouldn't use it because when I hear boy, I think of a little boy, and I don't consider teenagers to be boys and girls.
Well,
they're young adults, and
they are not adults.
Well, we can debate about that another time. What's your point?
Well, the point is, I would suggest that he get some professional counseling, and unfortunately, I felt sorry for him because I think you can tell that he is struggling. But I think what he really is looking for is a father figure. And when he talked about how he was born, he never mentioned having had a father around.
Well, yeah, obviously we had a limited amount of time with which to speak to him, and I'm going to say thank you for the call. Emily, your phone sounds absolutely horrible, so I can't keep it on the air much longer, but I do appreciate hearing from you.
You do hate a bad phone.
Let's go to Pam in New Mexico, listening to KOBE. Hello, Pam.
Hi.
Hi, you're on the air.
Yes. God doesn't heal us from absolutely everything that's wrong with us. For instance, Johnny Erickson Tata.
I'm not familiar.
She broke her neck at 17, and she's been paraplegic all her life. She's been to all kinds of people for healing, and God chose to leave her a paraplegic, but he gave her a ministry in life to do in the condition she was in. I think I've figured out what the thorn in the side of the Apostle Paul was, that he prayed for years and years for God to take away, and God spoke to him and said, I'm not going to take it away because this is going to keep you humble. Well, I think the Apostle Paul was gay. I think he wasn't acting on it, but I think the desires and everything were eating at him. And I'm sure he thought, well, if God would heal me of this, then I could be a better preacher and all this. And that's why God told him, no, this is to keep you humble.
It's a theory. Upon what do you base the theory?
Many years of trying to figure out what it was, and then just one day a light bulb went off, and he wasn't married, and people that were raised to be a rabbi the way he was, they were almost all married at age 30, and other little things about the lifestyle of the people that were raised the way he was raised in his Jewish life. And
well, I tend to think that Paul probably exaggerated a lot of his relationships within Judaism. So, being the likelihood of him being a Jew from Tarsus is slim. The likelihood of him having any kind of sway within the Sanhedrin as a young man is very, very unlikely. So, I always wonder, maybe it's just exaggeration was what Paul's thorn was.
Hey, Pam, thanks for the call tonight. I really appreciate it. And if we didn't get to your call, if you were on hold, I apologize. We hit this hot topic, and of course, everybody called in the last segment. So call us tomorrow night if you got more to say. We'll be on then at 7 p.m.
Anarchadelphia is a conference dedicated to the principles of liberty, individual sovereignty, and freedom from coercion, located in Philadelphia, the cradle of liberty. Anarchadelphia seeks to shed light on issues such as geopolitics, blockchain economics, spiritual health and wellness, as well as exposing the Earth's sacred hidden knowledge, featuring Mark Passio, Max Egan, Derek Brose, Jeff Berwick, and many more this September 13th through 15th. For info and tickets, visit anarchadelphia.com.
I can definitely say that I have found the best cryptocurrency wallet. Certainly the best named one. I'm Mark Edge, and I love the Edge wallet. I've been using it for the last few months. You can buy, sell, trade, and hold your cryptocurrency securely. I trust my holdings of all the major cryptocurrencies to Edge Wallet, and you should too. No long phrases to memorize, just a username and password. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet. Get it now on Apple or Android in the App Store or at edge.app.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999, and ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of Questioning Authority is next after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,518, silver at $18.67, and Bitcoin is trading around $10,581. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, in the state of California, up until this week, citizens who were able-bodied persons 18 years of age or older would be charged with a crime if a police officer asked them for help and they refused. All of that has since changed, as Governor Gavin Newsom has signed a bill that no longer requires or forces citizens to help police officers. The law was still on the books from the days of the Wild West. The California Posse Comitatus Act of 1872 made it a crime punishable by up to a $1,000 fine for refusing to respond to a police officer's call for assistance during an arrest. The Free Thought Project reports that it took until 2019 to change the bill that essentially turned citizens into indentured servants of police officers. Such bills were originally drafted as a means to garner help for cops who were attempting to catch fugitive slaves. As the Sacramento Bee points out, Posse Comitatus derives from medieval English common law, but saw widespread use in America's early days, including as a tool of enforcement for the Fugitive Slave Act. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals, high-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven, and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. As YouTube, Google, and Twitter crack down on peaceful channels, censor alternative media, and allow child exploitation videos to flourish, the Federal Trade Commission has slapped the tech giant with a $170 million fine and other sanctions for unscrupulously and illegally tracking children. The Free Thought Project reports that the fine was the result of a lawsuit against the company for violating the rights of children under 13 years of age by tracking them online without their parents' consent. Political reports that under a consent decree, YouTube will require users to self-identify whether videos they upload are meant for children, obtain parental consent before collecting personal information about kids, and provide its employees with annual training on how to comply with the children's privacy law. For the last 5 years, a serial rapist has terrorized the state of Georgia. At least 8 different cases of rape and sexual battery have been tied to 24-year-old Kenneth Bowen III. But until now, he has avoided getting caught. But all that changed when the very department who was investigating his case caught him after he began the process of becoming a cop. Clayton County Police Chief Kevin Roberts, during a news conference held last week, said, quote, "Had he not attempted to join ranks in the Clayton County Police Department, it is questionable as to when we would have apprehended him." When looking through police employee records, investigators found details that link Bowen to the cases. A search warrant to obtain Bowen's DNA was obtained last week, which linked him to at least 8 different attacks on women. After he was arrested, Bowen was charged with 7 counts of rape and 1 count of sexual battery. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
A local grandmother is beginning to realize that her family never even looked for a better nursing home. A man leaves a father-daughter dance with a different girl than he came with, and an earthquake late warning system goes off in Haiti. Watch as yet another precious fraction of your life passes mercilessly in front of your very eyes. This is the Onion Week in Review. Shortly after discovering he had locked himself outside of his suburban home Thursday, fully nude claims adjuster David Ronzo delivered a moving and thought-provoking treatise on the frailty of the human condition to a slowly gathering crowd of his neighbors. Ronzo, who initially panicked when he realized he was naked, soon turned and faced confused passersby and delivered a stirring oration on the grim facts of mortality, along with the indomitable nature of the human spirit. In other news, a man is arrested for stealing over $50,000 worth of beards from Hank Williams Jr. A pretty lady is playing hard to follow, and a dog named Murph lives up to his name. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
How do I follow up that episode? How do I, how do I follow up Adam Kokesh? It's going to be difficult, but I got some very important. Yes. Thank you, Mom. I have some very, very important information I have to go through. I'm going to be talking about, and for those of you who are unaware, Adam Kokesh was a guest on Free Talk Live right beforehand, but going to be talking about another presidential candidate. We're going to be talking about, and this is, I never thought I would have to do this show, but it's just so important because this is the aspect that everyone's been overlooking. This is what no one's really talking about. And, I fell into this dialectic. I remember if you would have asked me about a year ago that, like, who's going to declare martial law, I would have said, oh, yeah, the deep state's going to declare martial law. We're going to have the UN invade. It's going to be the communists. And that seems like the obvious scenario of what's going to happen. But I've uncovered some information. Well, not just me. I've seen a whole network of people who've broken past this false left-right paradigm. We've just been collecting this information, making these connections. I got a lot of what I'm going to be talking about tonight I owe to Matthew North and his channel. Just look up Matthew North on YouTube and BitChute. No, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but because of a lot, the backlash from last week's episode, I mean, my God, it was I felt like Elijah after Mount Carmel, right? He has this major victory, and then immediately the fallback happens, where he defeats the prophets of Baal and Aseroth, and this is from the first book of Kings, I believe. And then Jezebel, she says, "If the second I find you, I'm going to kill you." And then he goes out into the desert. For some of you have been following in the t.me/questioning authority show group. It's been, I've been pretty down. And yeah, the attacks have been, and not just on the QA front, but in the other show that I renamed from Radio Free Hanover to, Wake Up Call, the whole debacle with, the fairness doctrine and nobody. And it's just, I've just been so stressed out. But I did learn something very important this week in the process of being stressed out, is that, and I mean, I don't want to call it, I don't want to like outright say I believe in the law of attraction, but I do think that positive thinking is always, I think I'm going to try and be always positive, right? Obviously I got to be realistic. I'm not going to be always positive like, oh, this is great. Trump is taking on the Federal Reserve while he's preparing for martial law with his executive orders we're going to get into. So yeah, there's been so many people just going out, it's, and I thought about just taking the week off or just hiding next Wednesday. Just because all the flack I've been getting, just emails, people lying about me, saying all sorts of slanderous, defamational lies, scandalous lies, and I know that's how I know I'm over the target. That's how I know what I'm talking about is I'm getting close, right? I hate to use this InfoWars analogy, but it's like, you're over the target, you're on the right path when the flak increases. And I'm getting a lot of flak, I'm getting a lot of anti-aircraft fire, I'm getting a lot of, torpedoes shot at me, but I'm just steaming along, right? Guns ablazing, politically, metaphorically. And also I want to say I'm fine with where I know God has a purpose for me. I will never commit suicide if I'm very careful in my commute. So, if you hear something that I killed myself or I slipped on a banana peel outside of my apartment, or there's a hit and run or something, it's most likely bullshit, okay? So I just got to get that out for my safety now. So today's episode is Trump's right-wing takeover plan. Yes, you heard it, in fact. And it's not just domestic. I'm going to first go into the Brexit news. Boris Johnson, recently endorsed by Trump, is basically behaving like a dictator, dissolving parliament. Longtime listeners of the show will know that I am not a fan of dissolving parliament, no matter what political party does it, because that's happened to my native Canada, where they dissolve parliament. It's always a dictatorial move. It's always just to consolidate power. And even if the anti-Brexit, well, I'll be getting into that. Going to be getting into Trump trying to politically isolate China by